Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Backstage with Al and Jay. Are you ready?
You what?
And now, your host, Al Silva.
Who? Ladies and gentlemen, we have... I'm hoping a quick show for you guys. I know I say that every single week, but I'm dead serious. I'm tired, and I was this close. I was literally this close to me like, yeah, we don't do a show this week. We don't do a show. But I said, no, this is 2025. You know what this is the year of? The grind. This is the year of getting it done. This is the year of the Shia LaBeouf, just effing do it. If I had the sound, I'd say it. There it is.
Do it!
Do it. Make your dreams come true. So therefore I said, fine, I'll go live, even if it's just for an hour. Even if it's just for an hour, because I figured Jason was actually available tonight. So if he wasn't available, maybe I wouldn't have done it. But he's here in the room, available. Jason, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in. Thank you, Walmart, for having them off. I'm glad they're abiding by the rules we set in place. This is good. This makes me happy. Because a few weeks ago, I did say that we were going to boycott Walmart, and I told everybody, boycott Walmart. Everybody in the chat and the thousands of people that watch us. We have a lot of influence, And so, I think Walmart was hurting for a little bit, and they said, bro, just give them Tuesdays off. Just do it. I think that was us. And that's why you get Tuesdays off now, because they were like, no way. So this is what I did to make it up for Walmart. I activated Walmart Plus. I activated the Walmart Plus, and I literally did this because it was like really cold the other day. It was really cold, and I didn't want to like get out and do the grocery shopping. And honestly, I don't really care, but I was picking up the kids, and I know they didn't want to get out and do the grocery shopping. Plus, if I take them inside, you're gonna spend more money. Even I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at like, no, guys, come on now. I'll give you $5. Like, they know I'm serious. Like, I'll give you $5. That's it. They can't pull more. It's like trying to pull more, water out of a bucket with no water. It's like they know there's nothing there. And so,
in that bucket.
But they'll get something. And so I knew I could save at least $10 by not bringing them inside. So I said, you know what? I'm going to activate the Walmart Plus. It's $15 for the month. And to be honest, I get groceries every 2 weeks. And if not every week, because now that I eat a lot healthier, the vegetables, they don't last as long. So I can't get 2 weeks worth of vegetables. There ain't no vegetables that last 2 weeks. So I usually get like a week's worth of vegetables, and then that'll last me until Monday of the next week. And then I'm like, all right, Walmart, ship it out. And this is the only problem. The orders have to be $35 to get that free shipping. It's not infinite. Like Amazon, I'll order a $5 pack of strings. Jeffrey Bezos is like, no problem, sir. I'll bring it to you tomorrow. And I'm like, thanks, Jeffrey. But Walmart's like, well, it got to be at least $35. We ain't Jeffrey Bezos. So I'm like, dang. So if you don't do $35, they add in like, I think it's $7 or $8 as a fee. And I'm like, so the last couple times I've only needed like one or two things. So I'm like, all right, I'll just go. There's a Walmart on my way home from work. So I was like, I'll just stop at the Walmart. But then I end up spending more than the $8 when I go inside. I go inside and then I go, oh, let me get a little of this. Let me add another thing. That my new kick is, because I'm trying to add the bulk. Right now we're going into muscle mode, so we got to add things. So I'm like, I got to eat protein. So I went to Walmart and I was like, after researching, they're like, oh, you got to get protein. You can get yogurt, cottage cheese, things like that, protein shakes, stuff like that. And I was like, all right, fine, I'll get some. And I really wanted the yogurt because honestly, I am a fan of yogurt. I'm more of a fan of yogurt than cottage cheese. I do like cottage cheese, but in small doses. You know what I mean? Because it's really disgusting if you think about it. Like, cottage cheese is really gross.
Think about cottage cheese while you're eating.
You can't even look at cottage cheese while you're eating it, to be honest, because it's like almost puke. It's almost like chunky puke. That's cottage cheese. So I said, I'm not sure about the cottage cheese, even though I know it's really good for you. So I said, let me get the yogurt, because I'm constantly craving like some sort of dessert-like item, and I was filling that gap honestly with more coffee. Yes, more than I already drink. I was like, give me more coffee. But then I was also filling that gap because you can get pudding. sugar-free pudding. If you use like fat-free milk too, it's honestly barely anything. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of like pudding. It's kind of like chocolate. It's like eating melted Hershey's. It's kind of like that a little bit. But I was like, let me get some yogurt. So then I went, and when I was going to order it from the website, I was just going to order 2 of each of these Yoplait flavors they have, and they have like 16 grams of protein in the cup, in the little, Yoplait cup. They're not crazy. They're just the little cups. And I was like, shoot, that sounds awesome. But then I went there, and then I saw that they had these like Oikanos or something, the really fancier brand. But they had it on, Oikos, I think. It's really Greek sounding. And they had that, and it was like just as expensive as the Yoplait. It was only like $1 a cup, but then they had like salted caramel with chunks of this and that. They had one that was like s'mores with marshmallows and this, and it's all, obviously it has all the nutrition facts on there, and I'm like, oh man, it's still got like the 16 grams of protein, there's only like 4 grams of carbs. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get these. So I ended up spending like $20 on yogurt, just a big old variety of yogurt, because I figured, let me try all of them, and then that way I'll be like, okay, I like that one, don't like that one.
Think of it as an initial investment.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing here. And then I'll get back on the Walmart. Like, just deliver it to me. It's not the same. I like that it's like Jeffrey Bezos.
So
like Jeffrey, but who owns Walmart these days?
I don't even know, to be honest with you. There's 2 things you should know, though, that you haven't touched on with your Walmart Plus.
Uh-oh.
And that's, so you do get the free delivery on 35 or more, but these are the 2 features I actually use the most, is saving money on gas.
Money on the gas? Oh, because you can go to like a Sam's Club pump.
No, you don't have to go just to Sam's Club. I'm going to make you aware, like the gas station nearby my house has it.
Yeah.
Like anywhere you go, just open up the Walmart app and look at member prices on fuel, and 9 times out of 10, not only will you have it, but you can like wirelessly connect to the. I figured it out when I got my card, and then I was like, "Fuck, I need gas." Like this is probably pretty bad actually, but because I had my card saved on my Walmart, it was like, "Okay, what's your pump number?" And I put in the pump number, and it was like, "Do you want to use this card?" I'm like, yeah.
No way. From inside your car? Inside your car, you're doing all this stuff?
Yeah, man. So it was like,
we're
wow.
in the future.
Wild. Like saving 10 cents per gallon, and it's like I don't even have to get my wallet out.
Dang. All right, I'm gonna have to do that too, because obviously I'm trying to save wherever I can. So I'm going full Walmart. This is where Jeffrey needs to step it up. He's like, I gotta add gas stations. He was already trying to do the grocery thing, but I think he kind of backed off because he's like, I own Whole Foods. But have you ever been to a Whole Foods? Because I just walked into one literally a week ago. For the first time, I was like, never even heard of this place, but I had to go to a Whole Foods to like drop off a UPS package, because you can do take-backs to UPS there for Amazon. And so then I walk in, I was like, oh, this place is real fancy. It looks real nice. And they have like, the produce aisle was 5 times bigger than the Walmart aisle. I was like, oh man, half the store was like fresh produce and all this crazy stuff, or like handmade soups and this and that. I was like, oh, okay, I see why people go there. But the problem is the price. This stuff's expensive. Like, you pay that premium. You want that Whole Foods. You pay a little bit more. But see, that's why I go to Walmart. Because honestly, This should be a commercial. Walmart, you should pay me. My dad says in the chat, the Walton family. That just doesn't roll off the Jeffrey Bezos. Jeffrey Bezos. It just rolls off the tongue. The Waltons. I know they didn't make their name, but that just doesn't roll off the tongue for me. But we should get Walmart to sponsor us, Jason. I mean, you freaking work there, so they should sponsor us. And I'll be like, the best part about Walmart, Jason? It's not only the great low prices, everyday low prices, mind you, but it's the fact that their store brand, honestly, and I'm not trying to say this for a bit. I'm not trying to say this for a bit. People are going to be like, dude, you're just selling for. I'm not. Their store, the Great Value brand, it tastes great. It does. The Great Value nuggets, or the milk, or I get the coffee creamer, bro. All the Great Value stuff. It tastes good. It tastes almost just as good. I guess if somebody put them a blind taste test, and I'd be like, oh, this one's 5% better, and then I'd look at the price, I'm saving more than 5% in the value. So it is a great value. So Walmart, they got some stuff going on. They did the investment into great value so that way they can produce a great product there. I used to be a Kroger man. I was doing Kroger because Kroger's down the street. Walmart's is farther, but the thing is, now for $15 a month, I'm getting it delivered. Kroger don't deliver.
Yeah.
I mean, they might deliver, but like it's not the same. Walmart's they got the bulk to sell it by that.
Also get Paramount Plus for free. So
Paramount Plus. Oh, I didn't know that. Jason, why aren't you telling me all these benefits?
because I didn't expect you to get Walmart Plus, but like now that you do, like I'm telling
Bro,
you, like,
we need to shoot a commercial. And this was the thing I was talking to my dad with, and he's like, "Why don't you just do it?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? Why don't I just do it?" It's like all these things where it's like you would want to get paid for, right? Like I talk about Ray-Bans all the time or whatever. We should just shoot the commercials, right, for them. Make a short for them. You got to get Walmart Plus. What are the benefits, Jason? You'll be like, not only do you save 10% on gas, you could do it from your car. And it's like a pixel version of you in your car. It's not even the real version of you. It's the pixel version of you. Beep, 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 beep. 10 cents saved. Like something like that. It'd be funny. And then maybe Walmart will be like, oh, man, these boys get it. Go ahead and give them $100. And then I'll be like, no way. $100. Thanks, Walmart. That's so nice of you. Mr. Dalton or Walton. I got to find out who is the there's one I mean obviously it's the whole family, but I know there's one at the top. Sam's dead for sure. But
yeah, Sam's
is
dead.
his son Sam Jr.?
I don't know.
Well, it'd be funny if his
I
son's
haven't
name
got
was
that,
Jeffrey.
like, stuck in yet.
Jeffrey
Wow.
Walton. I'm surprised that wasn't in the orientation, Jason. You're telling me you went to Walmart orientation, they didn't tell you who owns the company?
Yeah, they were like all about Sam though. They were like, Sam was an awesome man. He's dead, but
They
he
did.
was
They
super
did.
awesome. Yeah, they were like all about Sam. It's probably just like Little Caesars, you know, where
Yeah.
they're like, Mike Ilitch
Mike
is
Ilitch.
the greatest man. Marion's okay.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, but you know, Mike died, so.
See, I don't know, because, like, he died when I was already, like, I had 1 foot out of the door, so, like, I was already too far removed from that sort of stuff. But I remember teaching orientation as an area supervisor, and that, honestly, I thought that was one of the coolest things, was doing orientation for new hires, because I remember being a new hire. Except for my orientation, I fell asleep. I did fall asleep at my orientation. It was just like, I was real tired. I'm not good
Kelly
being at
did
the
that?
other end of the table. Yeah, Kelly did that. And I remember that was a VCR day. She's like, let me pop in the VCR. There was a VHS. I remember her popping in a VHS. We weren't even, and yes, this was in DVD age, but she didn't have a DVD. I'm pretty sure she had a VHS. And I'm not good at the listening end of being presented to. It's just my brain and it's the ADHD. It's like I got to be like completely stimulated. But on the other end, like I'm the presenter, I'm like all about it. I'm like, oh man, And so like orientation was basically like selling the company to this new hire. So this new hire just got there and I'm like, you got to know, you're working at the greatest company in the history of the world. I'm telling you, Mike Ilitch is like the greatest dude. He owns the Red Wings and the Tigers. And, you know, other companies, they have to like buy stuff from somebody else. Mike Ilitch, he said, F that. I'm going to buy my own stuff. He distributes his own things. He goes as far as he makes his own mushrooms. He does his own mushrooms, kids. And they're like, no way. Yes. He does. Mike Ilitch knew it. Like, I loved working for somebody that I just felt so passionate about. That's why I always try to get an Amazon, because it's like, I know Jeffrey's not even there anymore, but same thing. Like, they still talk about, Jeff Bezos, because honestly, he's still on the board of directors. But, you know what I mean? I was just like, I have a passion for somebody that's like just really a go-getter that just invests and just wants to make their company grow and whatever. I'm not saying like I know my current boss ain't watching this show, but it's like, it ain't the same. It ain't the same, bro. Like, I'm telling you, there are polar opposites. My boss and Mike Ilitch, bro. This ain't happening.
It's like, oh, he already kind of had some money and, like, just figured, what the fuck? I might as well do something with it.
Yeah. No, I'd see, like, Mike Ilitch was, like, he did it right by having his partner, Mrs. Ilitch, is, like, the polar opposite of him. And the combination of the two, they created all this stuff. Because if it was only Mike, unfiltered, with no restraints, I mean, I can't tell you if it would be way more successful or he would have ran it into the dirt. Like, I don't know which way it would have went, because I know the way Mike thought, and it was like a really like, hey, what do my people need? oh, go get them for, let's go buy that, or let's organize this or whatever. He was like very people oriented, very like there was this story that they used to tell in the orientation video, one of the revisions of it, but it was really funny because they were like, it was Mrs. Illich talking about the first dollar they made at Little Caesars Pizza Treat back in 1959 in Garden City, Michigan. And she was like, Mike was at the front, he was at the counter, and so the first customer came in and he ordered, I can't remember exactly, so I'm just going to paraphrase it, but first customer came in and ordered like a fish dinner. And they used to do fish, chicken, spaghetti, all that stuff, right? Yeah. Ordered a fish dinner, and he was like, when it came out, he's like, hey, fish dinner on the house, you're the first customer for fish dinner. And he's like, oh, wow, that's awesome, thanks, Mike, whatever. Second customer comes in, they're like, hey, let me get that chicken dinner. And Mike's like, oh, no problem. Here you go. Chicken dinner on the house. You're the first customer with the chicken dinner. And then the third customer comes in and is like, let me get a pizza. And Mrs. Illich bumps Mike out of the way and goes, that'll be $1.50. Because she's like, I ain't let this guy give away everything for free. Because that's kind of like the way Mike was. Like, man, the first customer, this is great. And Mrs. Illich is like, we need to make money.
Free. He would have just been like, yeah, it's just a trial.
Every customer. free. I was just joking about being open for business. Mike, Mrs. Illich is like, give me the money. Because this is what's funny. As far as the back end goes, like, we already said back in episode 10, we're spilling all the secrets. We don't work there. I have no contract with these people. And I really don't plan on going back. So I'm spilling all their secrets. So corporate owns like several hundred stores. It's much smaller. It's about 25. I won't give the exact numbers. They're like, is he giving the exact? I won't give you exact numbers. Corporate owns about 25% of the total stores of Little Caesars. So 75% of the Little Caesars you see out and about around you are franchise owned. So that's a dude that goes, I want to make my own Little Caesars too. And then we give them a Little Caesars and we say, all right, go ahead. And then he builds like 110, and there's some super ones. And I had a story about that. They had 200 Little Caesars. They grew really big, too big to fail sort of thing. So they had to sell. But 25% are corporate owned. And those corporate owned, they're run completely different. They're run completely, utterly different than the franchise. It is like, I wouldn't say micromanaged in that sense, but like, because when you're in the operation, you're like, oh, this is just how it should be. But then when you're outside the operation, working in a franchise, you can see like the complete opposite of it, where there's like almost no oversight for the franchisees, even though they do have franchise reps. They just don't do their job enough. But for corporate, so you have your crew members. Crew members report to an assistant manager, which would be like a shift leader or key holder, but the entry-level manager for you at the restaurant. They report into a co-manager, and then the co-manager is the number 2 to the store manager. The store manager has an area supervisor that oversees like 7-8 stores. The area supervisor has a market director that oversees like almost 100 stores, 120 stores. Then the market director reports into a zone vice president that oversees like a whole chunk of the country. And then the zone vice president reports into the senior vice president of company operations. So everybody has their checks and balances on what they're being held accountable for. So like everybody's like, no. But the craziest part is they're a privately owned company. So not only do you have all your line of bosses to make happy, you still got, at the time, Mr. and Mrs. Illich. And now Mrs. Illich is still there, I think. I actually haven't heard about her dying yet, so I'm assuming she's still there. But the thing was, if you had a store that did not profit, they were negative. And yes, there's a thing. You're like, how can you not? This is an easy print and money machine. They're $5 pizzas, people. Those pizzas barely make any money. Those pizzas are to get you in the door, and then their crew member's job is to sell you that crazy bread, sell you them dippers, sell you that, whatever, sell you something, because like we're not making money on those pizzas. And so if you had a store that was negative profit for that period, you had to write Mrs. Illich a letter. And you had to explain why you're, as a supervisor, the store manager wasn't doing this. As a supervisor, you had to write Mrs. Illich and you'd say, all right, the reason why store 26 was under this month was because we had to hire, 5 people. We put 100 hours towards training. Plus they had to throw away, a rack of dough because of this and that. Like you had to explain, why didn't you make money? Like that's how serious Miss Illich is. She's like, bro, I need to know why you are not contributing, because a store that didn't make enough money, they would just cut off like the tail of I was going to say the tail of a donkey. I don't know if you cut off donkey tails, but they would just chop it. They'd be like, oh, this store don't make money. get rid of it. They wouldn't close it. They'd sell it to a franchisee. They'd be like, hey, does anybody want this thing? So they'd sell it to a discount to a franchisee that would take it over, and hopefully they would put in the work to make money, or I guess they would just run it into the ground farther than it was already going. But for the most part, they kind of did the same. Because for the Illages,
it would just be a guy who was like, I'm not going to name any names, but then be like, oh, what if we took all the things that Little Caesars corporate is doing and then like charge the same price but give them less?
Yeah. And make it shittier.
Yeah, like I don't want you to put as much cheese. I want you to count out less pepperoni. Like sometimes that shit adds up. Sometimes it's like $200,000 a year worth of theft. Yeah, that's bad. So when you have those bad experiences, that's probably not the standard for that company.
A lot of times, like my dad always used to tell me, oh, the Little Caesars by me ain't hot and ready. I'm like, what? What? Like like all of them, unless you're a specialty store, like inside a Kmart, or there ain't no more Kmarts no more. But there were specialty stores, and there was popping up a lot. They call them express stores. So I don't know if you people have seen these by you, but they're inside gas stations. They're Little Caesars where they're like, oh, they're merged into it, like a little baby Little Caesars inside gas stations. Those don't got to be hot and ready, even though technically they have express items. They're supposed to keep certain things up. But everybody, if you're a normal Caesar, you're supposed to have hot and readies. There's all sorts of places, like obviously in more rural areas, where they're like, bro, then we got to throw away these pizzas. And it's like, okay. And like, you're supposed to throw away those pizzas. Or even worse, they're like, we ain't throwing away shit. That pizza, how long that pizza been there? 4 hours? I ain't throwing it away.
Blue light.
No way. Yeah, blue light special. Somebody get this. $1. For a hot and ready, you go to look at it, and it's like, no. Now, this is the thing.
Blending in with the cardboard.
When we go to Speedway, every now and then they have pizza, like in their little rotation thing, and Mario's always looking at it, and I could just tell from my years of experience, like, Mario, that has been there for, I'm not sure how many hours, but I can tell you it's at least more than 3. It's 3. Based on the way that pizza looks, you don't want it. Now, this is the thing. People think, oh, I got this old pizza, especially when that's like, oh, it's a little cold. I think I'm getting sick or whatever. It's like, no. All right, first of all, you can have a pizza in those hot boxes that they keep them for, honestly, for a couple days. You could, as far as food safety goes, you could. You're not going to get sick. But if you've seen a pizza, like we've seen pizzas just from the beginning of the day, like somebody had something in the morning and it didn't get thrown out all day. You get to the end of that day and it's like a whole different color. And it's like rock hard and stuff.
Yeah,
you wouldn't want to eat it.
Green.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to eat it. But it won't get you sick. Technically, because there's like temperature danger zones and all sorts of stuff where that's why there's pizzas in a crest. They call it a crest core. Some people call it a hot box. But it's supposed to maintain above 135 degrees. Usually it's maintaining like 155, 160, something like that. So it's piping hot, ready for you when you walk in. 5 hours later, that hot and ready, it's ready to go. But that's the problem when you got those shitty stores. You can't even count on it to be a good product. You're like, oh, exactly. I don't know what I'm gonna get today.
But the funny thing is like even in those shitty stores, like you're realistically, whenever somebody would call in and be like, oh, I had your pizza and I everybody got sick. I'm like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah, no, because
no, you
it's
didn't.
Like the Little Caesars thing is like it's all products and things that this is gonna sound bad after all the like, oh yeah, corporate has a really good idea, it's franchise, it's like hit or miss, like oh it's all pretty good, like a very okay experience, but then it's like none of that shit is like real food. Like all of the toppings can be held in that hot box for like the entire day without getting you sick. So when you call a Little Caesars and say like, oh, it made me sick, you're lying.
Yeah.
Something else made you sick.
This is the thing. They always get sick like immediately after. Like, oh, I just had the pizza and now I'm sick. And it's like, your body didn't digest anything yet. What was the last thing you ate before that? They're like, oh, I went to a Subway or something like that. It was that. It was that. Like, did you eat a food that wasn't cooked? It was probably that thing. You know what I mean? Anything that goes through that 600-degree oven, it dies. It dies. Like, whatever. Even if they're supposed to wash their hands. There was always grumpy customers that go, oh, they're not wearing gloves. They're not wearing gloves when they make the pizza. Yeah, lady, because it's about to go into a 600-degree oven. Whatever I had on my hands, even though they're fully washed, whatever I had on there is dead. That
It's beyond.
it's
like,
cooked.
You
Let them
like,
cook.
You could. There's nothing out there that's going to survive that temperature at the moment.
Except for maybe mouse poops. If you see mouse poops, all right, there's nothing I can do about that. They're like, oh no, there's mouse poops in the pizza. Okay, well, that's the Walter. You got me. You got me. All right, there's nothing we can do about that. But those are those really bad stores, and you'll know them because you walk in and you go, wow, this place is dirty as hell. Wow, there's shit everywhere. Wow, they have like the lobbies. If the lobby is an absolute atrocious mess, I guarantee you it's only worse where you cannot see. If that's the place you can see, and that's what I always taught my stores too. I'm like, you gotta really clean the front because that's the part they see. But they're gonna assume whatever this place is, it's worse back there. So you need to make this look good. This is your showroom. This is the showcase. Make this stuff look good. And it's like, it's all, and my dad said, the Little Caesars has went to shit since Mike died. Its nickname around here is Little Sleezers. We've heard that a lot. Little Sleezers. Those sleazer pizzas.
You're on front counter and people want to, like, everybody thinks they're clever.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know how many times
Let me get that hot and sweaty.
Yeah.
Let me get that smelly now. Oh, man. I still, literally to this day, I still crack up every now and then. I'll get like, I don't know what triggers it, but in the Detroit, this is mostly the Detroit market. Jason started bringing it out to Dallas, but this is really a Midwest thing. And in the Midwest, and Cheyenne's like, I've never had a Little Caesars pizza. That's crazy. That's nuts. You should probably experience it just to say that you've had Little Caesars, but no, it's not great pizza. I mean, that's the reason why it's budget. But this is the thing. In the Midwest, specifically the city of Detroit, they do this thing with the pizza where you take a pizza, pepperoni, cheese, whatever you want, and then they take the garlic butter that's technically not garlic or butter, but we'll get into that another day. But they'll take the garlic butter, and they want you to spread it all over the pizza, and then you'll take Parmesan cheese, and you'll put it all over the pizza. So they call it, butter parm. It was either butter parm on the crust or butter parm all over. But the customers, that's right, because we used to have physical tickets, so we'd have to write it out, BPOC, BPAO. So if you got that BPAO, you're like, oh, they want the butter all over the pizza and the Parmesan cheese. It just looks nasty.
And they'll watch you.
Hey, that's not enough parm. It's more. And you're sitting there shaking it, and you're like, all I see is parm. They're like, wait. All right, that's good. But a lot of times they didn't even know what it was called. So they'd be like, let me get that, They would just like, and they would do the hand signals, and I'm like, oh, that butter parm. But it's just like, it reminds me of like the Patrick ordering it. It's like they don't even know what it's called, but they know what it does. They know I want the butter all over the pizza. You know, how can I add like another 1,000 calories? Is there a way? Do you guys got anything back there? We're like, I guess we could put butter all over the pizza if you want. They're like, that's not enough. What else can we do? I don't know. Load it with Parmesan cheese, too. Like, damn. It probably literally adds 1,000 calories to the pizza.
It does, but I'm going to tell you right now, like, I'm not trying to advocate for this. So, like, don't go, like, getting a heart attack.
Oh, boy. They're going to run to the Little Caesars. They're like, I got to try this.
I'm telling you, when you do that, like, we're making fun of it because it was annoying.
Yeah.
Like,
when you had hundreds of customers a day.
Exactly. But that will bring back to life a shitty pizza. So, like,
yeah. If you got that 3-hour-old pizza.
Yeah. When we were like, oops, we didn't throw that away. And, like, obviously, when we say, like, oh, you didn't throw it away, it doesn't mean, like, oh, yeah, we totally intended to sell it to somebody. No. Me and Al would
just didn't get to it.
That shit to the top.
Oopsie.
And we would put it somewhere where we knew either nobody would see it or it definitely wasn't getting sold.
Yeah. You're like, I'll get back to that. Throw it at the bottom of the core.
You could grab one of those boys and put butter parm all over it and then eat it. And it'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
It'd revive
Gave it
that
the juice.
not like the all day ones though, just
Yeah.
to clarify. I'm talking about like maybe it was supposed to be done in a half hour, but it's like it's an hour and a half. Ooh, like you definitely can't sell it. But like I could probably eat it.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing. When we would have it, you moderate. You're like, oh yeah, let me get a line around the crust and get a drizzle around the top, and then it's in moderation. You're like, yeah, no, it adds flavor. It's pretty good. But
Yeah,
no
that's-
customer wanted it that way. No customer was like, yeah, let me just get a little bit. They're like, more. You would do it. I would do it excessively to be like kind of a dick, like. And then I'd go up to them. They're like, can I get a little bit more? And they're like, no way. No way. Are you okay? Is everything all right? Like, that's what I'd be concerned about them. I'd be concerned. And then Jason goes down to Dallas. He's like, hey, I got an idea. We should tell him about this butter farm thing. I was like, I don't know if we want to start that here, because honestly, it's addicting. That's why they call them the breadsticks. Some people call them like crazy sticks, or crack sticks, or something like that, because it's the garlic butter. And this is the thing: we're selling secrets here. Sorry, Little Caesars, it's not garlic or butter. If you read the ingredients, it's actually vegan. It's completely vegan. It doesn't have. I think it's like soybean. It's made out of soybeans and like garlic flavoring of something. It's not any of those things, but it tastes like it's garlic butter. It does. You're like, oh wow, this is garlic butter. No, it ain't. I remember I discovered that because I had a vegan that many years ago. A vegan came in. It's like, hey, I'm vegan. I don't do anything that's like even animal byproducts, stuff like that, milk, dairy, stuff like that. So what can I have here? And I was like, oh, I'm not sure. And they're like, well, can I have the breadsticks without the Parmesan cheese? And I was like, well, I don't know if this is butter, right? And they're like, well, can you check? And then I looked at the butter bottle, and, and like anything else in the United States of America, they have to like have all the ingredients there. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, this doesn't say nothing about milk, dairy, like anything. It's like soybean, hydrogenated, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. And they're like, oh, no way. And then I Googled it, and I was like, is Crazy Bread butter, like, blah, blah, blah? And somebody else obviously discovered it before me. Like, obviously, I wasn't the first one to do this. And they're like, no, it's actually vegan, because it's all processed crap. I was like, no way. That's crazy.
That's
so
how
you
we know your
vegans
ass ain't getting sick, because
they're
it
like,
ain't real.
That butter was old. No, it wasn't. It's plastic. It's like, plastic doesn't go bad. You thought that plastic went bad? No. This is just for flavor, and it's all to make it. It's like pre-Matrix. You know what I mean? Like in the Matrix, we're going to think that we're eating all the time, but we're not. We're not eating anything. So we're pre-Matrix. We're eating stuff that we think's real, and it's not. Like anything at McDonald's. Everything at McDonald's is completely made up. This is not real stuff. Because when you get a burger or nuggets or even the fries and you like lose it, like for a couple months, you're like, oh, where'd those fries go? Usually it's your car, right? You go to clean up your car and you see like a nug. It's still there. It could be a year later. The nug is not molded, not rotted out. It's just a nug. The fries are just fries. The burger is still a patty. You're like, no way. It's not real, people. It's not real. Now, is it not flavor? Is it not delicious? Sure. I enjoy me a chicken nugget. I enjoy that. I'll enjoy a McDonald's. I haven't had a McDonald's hamburger in a couple months because I just know they're the worst thing for you. But every now and then, yeah, I get a nugget. Even though I like Wendy's because they actually have real chicken nuggets. If I can do Wendy's, I'd rather do Wendy's. But it's not real. So we're like kind of being, I don't know, getting ready for the Matrix because they're like, how much fake food can we give them where they think it's real now, so that way eventually we're going to get MetaQuest 6, and they're going to strap them on their faces, and they're like, dinner time, and you think you're sitting there eating. You're not eating anything. But your brain's already been programmed to not even want real food anyway. I don't know how we get our nutrients, but, they're like, bro, we ran out of... That's how they solve world hunger. They're like, it's like mind over matter. They just start shipping headsets out to, like, all the, poor parts of Africa or whatever. They're like, just pretend you're eating. It's so good. Yum, yum, yum.
Oh my God. And now we got
Yummy.
this huge push for solar power too. Like that's how
they're plugging in that.
Yeah, we're going to be running on solar power here in the future.
Well, this is a really good segue because I almost forgot I actually had articles to bring up because that's the pregame. I watched this other guy's show and they do something. Maybe we'll call it the pregame. So they have segments and they go, all right. And I think their pregame is called like housekeeping. They go, all right, housekeeping, and it's just the bullshit that they talk about or whatever. That is the pregame. Write that down. That's going to be our first segment, Cheyenne. Our first segment, always the pregame. That's called the warm-up. Now we're going to get into our first article here, and we're talking about energy because maybe, and we are late as hell to this party, but I told you many times before, I don't care. It's like we gotta bring stuff up when we bring it, and they still haven't solved this. To this day, they still have it, and I'm just so surprised. But I talked about it on New Year's Eve, and I said, oh, we're going to look at these plasmoids, and we never brought it up because my kids were just having such a great time, and it was just an awesome set. Like, that was just
a really good show.
That was a great show. My kids keep, like, watching it. They'll keep looking at it, and they go, man, that was a really great show. I was like, yeah, it was, dude. That was fantastic. We had Grandpa and Jason. It was everything. It was fantastic. Oh, yeah. They loved that. They've been begging. They're like, can I be on the show? Now that they did it, they asked me. He was like, it was like the next day or the day after. He's like, can we do another live stream right now? I was like, no, not right now. Not right now. I got nothing. I don't have anything ready. I was like, I don't know. I was even considering like, I guess I could go live. But I was like, you know what? Why don't I make, because I have like 10 different channels. There's like all these secret channels I have out there that I just, they're like paper trails or paper, what are they called? Breadcrumbs for people to find out there that I'll never advertise. You'll have to find it one day. And so I was like, oh, I'll make another channel that's like dad functions, like family stuff. So like maybe if I'm playing a video game with the kids or whatever, like maybe I'll just have a channel for like the random stuff like that, anytime he wants to go live, hey, let's just go live and do some, some stuff like that. So you might come across that at some point in the future. Like, I've seen that guy before. I've seen him. Yep. There's other channels. But I saw this article, specifically this video, and it's about those drones. And it's not really about the drones. It's about what are the drones looking for? Why are they out there? And it turns out, for what people say, obviously none of this has been verified, but they're looking for these plasmoids. And the plasmoids could be like a source of energy. That's what some people think. Some people think they could be angels. Because I have another article that I'm gonna see another video after this where this is the first one's more of a scientific view. Or, well, more of a theoretical, like, I don't know, what do they call that? Conspiracy theory sort of scientific view. And then the other one's going to be more of a biblical point of view. So let's go ahead and bring this up here. The screen. This one's, it's not about the drones. These might be orbs and plasmoids. So let's take a look at this. I don't think I'll get banned. We'll see.
Recently, headlines have been buzzing about unidentified drones over New Jersey. A mystery fueling speculation that these drones may be tracking plasmoids.
I can't believe up to last week you didn't hear about this,
plasma-like entities, potentially tied to unidentified anomalous phenomena. UAPs. Could these sightings offer clues to a deeper understanding of the universe? And how do they connect to groundbreaking research like quark-gluon plasma studies?
What about those quark-gluon plasma studies?
In this video, we will explore this gripping narrative, packed with thrilling science and mind-bending possibilities.
That sounds intense. Thrilling? Gripping?
Mind-bending?
Plasmoids are a profound scientific mystery, linking atmospheric phenomena to potential extraterrestrial and technological interactions.
What?
These self-organizing plasma structures, often observed near thunderstorms or in space, represent critical components in understanding UAPs and their reported behaviors. Unlike ordinary plasma, plasmoids exhibit remarkable stability and complexity.
Look at that.
They can pulsate, change shape, and even split into smaller plasmoids.
Come on now.
Behaviors that spark comparisons to biological systems. Recent studies, like those detailed in the 2024 paper on UAPs, highlight plasmoids as a plausible explanation for many mysterious sightings. For instance, pulsating plasma-like objects have been documented hovering near thunderstorms and following aircraft. These objects, which exhibit extraordinary maneuvers, may align with the known characteristics of plasmoids and their interactions with electromagnetic fields. An example from the paper includes plasmoids interacting with space missions, showcasing behaviors that appear to reflect environmental responsiveness. These interactions underline their ability to influence human technology and raise questions about their potential complexity. But what makes plasmoids truly fascinating is their hypothesized connection to life itself. Some scientists propose that plasmoids might represent a fourth domain of life, existing independently of DNA-based biology. This idea stems from their ability to self-replicate and engage in seemingly purposeful interactions. Could plasmoids be a form of prebiotic chemistry, or even a non-carbon-based life form? If so, they might hold the key to understanding the origins of life and its potential diversity across the cosmos. The link to UAPs grows even stronger when considering how plasmoids interact with electromagnetic fields. Military and civilian pilots have reported encounters with luminous objects capable of sudden accelerations and sharp turns.
See, they thought
These
they were
behaviors
UFOs.
align with the known properties of plasmoids,
It could be plasmoids.
suggesting that many UAP sightings could be plasma phenomena rather than extraterrestrial spacecraft.
They're saying
The
maybe
recent
it's not a
drone sightings
spacecraft.
in New Jersey
Maybe it's the
add
life
another layer
itself.
to this puzzle.
It's not a
Eyewitness
craft.
accounts
It's not
describe
life in the
coordinated
craft.
drone
It is the
movements,
craft.
often occurring during or
What?
after thunderstorms, conditions known to foster plasmoid formation. Speculation has surged that these drones are part of scientific or military
Cheyenne, sit
missions
down for
to study
science class.
plasmoids.
No talking.
Equipped with advanced sensors, the drones may be capturing high-resolution data to better understand plasmoids' behaviors and interactions with electromagnetic fields. Given their potential link to UAPs, plasmoids are likely to be high-priority targets for research.
See, that makes sense. I'll pause this here because I didn't want to watch the whole thing because it's like really sciencey, but I did want to bring that first part up. So that is the first sort of theory. It's like, what happens if these are these plasmoids, which essentially could be a like they said, a non-organic life matter in itself. So people were thinking like, oh, maybe I was seeing a UFO. You weren't seeing something that was in a craft. The thing was the thing that was like, it's not in a craft. It is the craft. The energy is a source, but it's so far away and it's so bright that you just see, circle, woo, 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 you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is the thing. But now we have better cameras. We can zoom in more, so now we can see these. Now, obviously, there still are actual unidentified flying objects that aren't these plasmoids. But this is like, are they going hand in hand? Is it our advanced technology that's looking for these plasmoids so we can utilize them, so we could take their energy and their life source and then fuel our advanced military technology? Or are we just like, what the hell is that? And we send our fighters, fighter jets up there, and they're like, what is it? I don't know. That thing's, it's tailing me. I can't shake it. And it's like that movie where it's like, I can't shake it. And he's like, Jimmy, no. And then the missiles, and he dies. They're like, no way. Now, luckily, these things haven't been hostile. They haven't, like, they'll play around. That's where they were saying, like, a lot of times with spacecraft or aircraft, they'll interact. That's where it's like, it has to be some sort of sentience because these things will interact with something for some reason. But they won't, like, actually go at it. Could you imagine these plasmoids are like, oh, yeah, you want to fight or whatever? And they just run into these aircrafts and they buzz them, like, and they just go down and there's airplanes, like, just dying left and right or something. That hasn't happened. They kind of play around. They go, ooh, look at me, I'm a plasmoid. And then they jet out. So it's like, this is the thing. I don't know. That could be it. But then I saw this and I said, you know what? That could be it too. And it's, are these plasmoids actually angels? And I was like, they could be angels. Because if you've seen, like, descriptions of biblically accurate angels, they look messed up. Like, everybody thinks, like, oh, angels, it's like these pretty things with wings. Well, that's weird because every time these pretty things with wings come down and talk to men, the first thing they say is, don't freak out. Don't freak out. Why are they saying, fear not, don't be afraid? Like, they're like, because these things are freaky. They have, like, all sorts of, like, I mean, they're described as having, like, wheels upon wheels, eyes on eyes, all this crazy stuff. So I'm like, when I saw that one zoom in, I was like, I don't know, that kind of could be an angel. That kind of could be something. So let's listen to this guy kind of give his explanation on why they could be angels.
Is this footage here proof of biblical accurate angels?
Because look at that one on the left. I'm like,
these so-called plasmoids has been surfacing the internet recently, and people are starting
that's
to
like
wonder,
very
is this
specific, like eyes on
extraterrestrial
eyes,
life?
wheels
We're
of
going to dive
eyes,
into this
like-
today. Make sure you like, subscribe,
Obviously,
hit the
somebody
bell
was describing
notifications
it. They
so
had
you
no
don't miss
idea
any
what to
videos. let's dive
describe,
into
but
it.
Seems everyone
Put that
starts
shit
to
in the
look
AI.
up like
Yeah.
my crew and I have been here in Mendham recording this
And these are
video
the
that
thing.
you're looking at
These
right now.
normal
We have
humans
no
are just
idea what
looking
it
up and
is,
going,
if it's a
"What the hell
natural
is that?
phenomenon, because it could
What
be,
is that?"
But
It's
this
not
is
like
why
some
so many
random secret dude
municipalities are
from
now asking people to
Santa
reach out
Fe, or
and
it's like
send their
New
videos
Jersey,
to them or to
Ohio.
experts who might be
They're
able
just looking
to
up and
sort
going,
out
"What is
what
that?"
they're seeing in the skies. But I guarantee
It
there's
ain't
so
even
many
going
people
away.
looking up and
It
making
ain't
those
even doing
recordings
nothing.
because this mystery is one that
It's
needs
just
to be
like
solved.
floating.
For now, we're live here in Mendham Borough. Tony Yates, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Look at this thing moving.
I'm looking.
That is unreal. Are these
is.
drones really biblical angels? Ezekiel 1:15, verse 20. As I looked to the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. This was the appearance of a structure of wheels. They sparkled like topaz, and all 4 looked alike. Each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. Look at this thing go. As they moved, they would go in any one of the 4 directions the creatures faced. The wheels did not change direction as the creature went. Their rims were
Four-dimensional.
high and
Boop, boop, boop,
awesome,
boop, boop,
and
boop.
all 4 rims were full of eyes all around. Sparkle like topaz. I mean, look at that. And angels encountered people in the Bible. No wonder when
If
they
you
rocked
saw
up, they
that,
said,
you'd be like, "Whoa!"
"Don't
And it'd
be
be like, "Don't be
afraid."
afraid." Like,
They
what the
would
hell
have
is
been
that?
wigging
You'd be like,
out.
"Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! This is
You
crazy."
saw that.
So
we
it
gotta
makes
check
sense
this
that
out.
it'd be like, "Don't be
Apparently, a
afraid."
lady finds one of these
I'm a freaky eye
plasmoids,
thing.
zooms in on it, and starts talking to it about Jesus, and it starts doing strange things.
There we go. Let's see if we can see that.
That's a good
Look at the way
zoom.
it's spinning. It kind of looks like it's rippling, but
What the heck kind of camera is that? I heard that. Zzz. You can tell it has like a core. You see
That's
the
kinda
really
cool.
the bright thing is like the core, and then everything else
Can
is
you
like
talk
coming
to me?
off of it. It's gonna try to.
Can you
this
hear
person's
me?
gonna try to talk to it.
Man, that shit is so far away,
Jesus
I cannot
loves
hear
me.
you.
Oh no no
oh,
no!
you know Jesus. You know Jesus. Jesus is awesome, isn't he?
whoa.
Yes, he
boy.
is.
This
It
is the thing when
definitely
it comes to like
responded to
biblical
that.
stuff. It's either one thing or another.
Yeah.
So it could be an
God
angel,
is good.
could be a demon. It could be a demon
God
freaking out,
is
like,
good.
"Oh, bro, did you say Jesus? Like, did you just say
God
that?"
is good.
That is something else.
Kind of
Might I
freaky.
say? Not too sure what to say after that. Should definitely go read Ezekiel 12 with the encounter with the angel and the way he describes it. So Wes Huff recently put out a blog talking about biblically accurate angels. Every once in a while, the biblically accurate angel memes will make the rounds.
That's true.
Recently, it's very cool CGI animation of the
Ever since,
description
like,
of
more
the
of the
biblical book of Ezekiel
AI videos, I see a
went
lot more of these
viral.
pop up.
Titling these biblically
Something like
accurate
that.
angels is a bit of a
Crazy.
misnomer. These aren't actually angels. These are, as Ezekiel 10:20 says, cherubim. So this one right here looks familiar, right? Throughout the Bible, there are a number of classifications of spiritual beings: angel, seraphim,
Yeah.
cherubim. The malach or angelus is a messenger. It's an assignment, a job description. It's not what
And this is the thing
it
he's
is
breaking
as
down. There's
much
actually
as
like
what it does.
different types
It's the function of the creature, not the
these
description
spiritual
of the
beings
creature.
that most people just say
Linguistically,
angels,
the word
but
seraph,
there's actually different
I
types
Hebrew,
of them, different
has direct
hierarchies
connections
that
with
do
the word
their own.
for
They have their
burn
own purposes.
and serpent. Seraph.
So he's going to break
in
it
the
down a little bit more.
singular
We don't got to
is
see all
a
that.
throne
Otherwise,
room
I'll
guardian
probably get copyright striked. And I can't. Not no more. Don't get me, YouTube. But I just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was really important. But then the thing that kind of freaked me out was like the one where she was like, "Oh, you know, Jesus," and then the the sparkly things like, and because I had a dream the other day, and this was probably one of the freakiest dreams I may have ever had in my whole life because it was so real. It was so physical, and then when I woke up, I was still kind of in it, or I felt that I was still in it, and it was really freaky. But I had two sets of dreams. The first one is I was in a dream where I was lucid dreaming. I was aware that I was dreaming, and I was like, "Oh, cool, I'm lucid dreaming. Let me try flying." You know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, once you know you're lucid dreaming, you're like, "Let me do some crazy stuff." And so I was like, "Oh, let me try flying." And, you know, it's hard. You can't just be like, "Oh, I'm going to do Kamehamehas," and you just start doing whatever you want. You have to kind of coax it out of you. You have to, like, how do I keep my brain? Because it feels like there's a balance between being aware that you're in the dream and then waking up. Because if you're too aware, you'll wake up. So you got to be like, I'm in the dream, but I don't want to leave the dream. So I'm like trying to fly, and I'm trying to break through my ceiling. And so I'm like flying, then I kind of, merge through the ceiling, and then I'm kind of making my way to the sky. And as I'm in the sky and I'm flying, I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. I feel like a tugging on my, I don't know if it was my hand or my leg, but it was a tugging on one side of me, like literally, I felt this, a demonic tugging. And that's the only way I could describe it, because it just felt like pure evil, right? This thing was demonic, just tugging me back, and it was like, no, you have to do it. And I was like, oh, no, I got to escape this thing. And so I was trying to get away, and I couldn't. And I was just like trying it with all my might, and I couldn't get away. But, I was trying for my superpowers. So I was like, oh, but this thing was like tugging. This demonic force was just tugging on me. And so I said, I grabbed on because I wear a cross necklace, people. I've wore this every day since 2019. I obviously take it off to go to the shower, but other than that, it's on me 24/7. And so I grabbed my chain for one hand, and I was like, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And this thing started like kind of freaking out, right? And I was like, in the name of Jesus, get the hell away from me. Like I was scared out of my life in this dream. So I was like, boom. And as I'm given the Jesus power to this thing, it was like, oh, I need to call in reinforcements. So the next thing I know, in a blink of an eye, I'm in my bed. I'm still dreaming, mind you, but I didn't know I was dreaming. But in my bed, I thought I woke up, but I'm in my bed, and I'm holding my cross. At this point, I'm holding it with two hands, and I feel what I think, because I was telling Cheyenne the stream, I'm pretty sure it was Satan himself. That's the way I felt in the dream, that it was literally, he didn't send a commander. He was like, I'm going to this guy myself. And then Satan himself was like trying to pull me out of my bed. And I was like, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you. Get away from me. Get away from me. I just kept, Jesus, save me from this man. Save me from this. And then I felt like a whole body vibration, like everything was vibrating, because there was this spiritual tug of war between me and Satan. And then at the end, like Satan he got ripped away. And then in that instant, I woke up, and I was still I woke up in real life, and I was like tugging onto my cross just like this, completely in the same position I was in the dream world when I thought I was awake, but I was not awake, but I was in my bed in the same position. Like everything was, I was like, oh my goodness, that was the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. It was like the most real, freaky dream I've ever done. And so when I saw that lady was like, in the name of Jesus, do you like Jesus? And that thing was like, ooh. That's where I'm like, I don't know if that's an angel, because demons know Jesus too, They've heard of him. They know him pretty well. And they're like, oh man, I don't want to mess with that. And so that first dream I had, it like freaked me out. I was like, oh man, I don't know about all this. This is crazy. But then I was like, man, I really feel like there's some spiritual warfare. I've honestly felt like this ever since I kind of became a little bit more aware. And there's reasons why, if you read the Bible, it's like, well, obviously he wants to get the ones that get it. He's like, I got to get those boys, because I don't like that, and I don't like you. I actually hate you more than I hate the regular, because Satan hates everybody. He really hates everybody, but he definitely hates the Christians. He's like, I hate you more than I hate anybody else, and I hate everybody. He's the ultimate hater. So I was like, oh boy, that freaked me out. And I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can fall asleep again. I immediately fell asleep. I'm so tired. I got to sleep at all times. So then I fall asleep again. This time I had a much better dream after I rebuked Satan and got him away from me. He's like, all right, I'll back up for a little bit. So then I had a good dream, and it was so funny because you were in it, Jason. You were in my dream, and I've actually been dreaming about you a little bit more lately. Because like you said, like I'm actually having better sleep. I'm actually dreaming now. I'm like, yeah, I know too. It's like as time goes on, I'm actually being able to remember my dreams more, experience them more, obviously be more in the moment with them. And so I had this dream where I was at the airport, and I was getting ready for my flight, and my flight was leaving at 3:00. And so I was like, but the thing was, like, you ended up showing up, a couple, like, old people, like, people from work, like, this guy named Nick, Odo, and stuff like that. They showed up, like, people that I was cool with or whatever, and we were just, like, hanging out, we're just having fun, and I was like, oh, man, but I gotta go at 3:00. I gotta go. And it just sucked, because we were all having this fun time, and it was great, but it was at the airport, like, and it reminds me of this Jujutsu Kaisen scene where they're all dead, though, and they're all at the airport, but they got, like, the one new dead guy, that's why he meets him at the spiritual airport because they're all going to go to the afterlife or whatever. And I was like, oh, man, it kind of felt like that. It kind of felt like we were all meeting at the spiritual airport. I was like, oh, man, but it felt good. Like, it wasn't a bad dream. It felt like a really positive dream. But it felt like that was the only thing. It was like there was a separation. It was like you guys we're all going to different destinations. We all couldn't go to the same destination. We're going to different destinations. But we're hanging out. We're having fun. And then in the dream, I remember having a song idea. And the song idea was about something else, too. So it wasn't about that. But that I guess that incident, it sparked it, and it was like, this is the best of times. And then I had this idea. It was like, and it was making me think about this previous relationship I had a couple relationships ago where I was like, oh, yeah, that was the best of times. And it was also the worst of times. It was like the best of times and the worst of times equally. It was a crazy ride. It was a wild ride. And so I woke up literally in the middle of the night. I was like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, oh, the best. I already had the chorus, kind of the melody for it. I just remember like turning over and I was like, I got to record it or I'll forget it. So I just grabbed my phone. I go to voice memo. I was like, it's the best of times, the worst of times. I just wrote it down. I was like, more sleep. And I went back to sleep. But then next day I woke up and I could not get that song off my head. I was like, I got to do something about that. So the whole Sunday I just started sitting down and making that song. And then I recorded it, did the whole demo for it. Monday I recorded the vocals and stuff. And I was like, man, that's just so crazy. Like, to me, it's like a one little spark, one little thing leads to another, and then it snowballs to. And my favorite thing is making music because it's like producing something, I don't want to say eternal, but you know what I mean? Like, once it exists, it exists. It's real. It's physical. It's out there. It's like, bam. And to me, that's the craziest thing, is to be able to turn something that's a spark in your brain into something that exists in the physical, real world that you can even show people. You can be, hey, check this out. This is nuts. Check this out. And now it's like, you know, we still listen to like Led Zeppelin. It's been like 60 years. We're still listening to Beethoven. It's been 100 years. I'm not saying I'm making any Beethoven stuff, but the fact is you have the ability to hear the stuff that they were thinking in their brain, but it's outside their brain now. And now you can hear it. Now you can see it. And it's, to me, that's the biggest part. Like, obviously the dream was a spark of the thing, but then when I started making the song, I was really thinking about that previous relationship. But the thing was, it was like, to me, if you can do that, those people out there are like, man, I have a lot of bad memories or bad times or bad situations or whatever it is. And it's like, if you can make something positive out of it, anything. Like, I'm obviously a musician, so I try to make songs. But, you know, some people are painters. They like to paint stuff. Some people are, I don't know, they crochet. They make blankets or something like that. I don't know. Like, whatever you do, because I think everybody has the ability to do something. Something, bro. There ain't nobody out there like, I can't do nothing. Nothing?
You know nowadays?
Nothing? What?
The one creative form that, like, you have to figure, like, most people, it's like, oh, okay, this is my creative way.
Yeah.
Like, I write music. People listen to it. Writers, man. People don't read anymore. So it's like, you gotta go into screenplay, or you gotta find somebody who makes music and put your words into their songs, or you gotta like you almost have to have a middleman nowadays because people don't read.
They don't read?
Yeah.
I think it's mostly because people, I mean, obviously when you're saying the read, it's like, if people, I think most people, I don't want to say are too lazy, but it's like, I truly think almost every human, there are some people that are just stupid beyond belief. I can't say it any better than that. Like, okay, if you're like, bro, I barely function every day. Okay, maybe. But I think most human beings have the cognitive ability to learn. I think we've all been granted that gift. We can learn things. Some people, they catch on quick. Some people they call prodigies. They just pick up something. They're good. Okay. Some people, they pick it up, and I'm not really good, but I can put in a little effort. Some people have to put in a lot of effort. But I think anybody can do anything they put their mind to. But how much effort do they have to put behind that? How much time is it going to take? Everybody's different. That's where everybody's different. But I'm a big advocate of the arts in all of their forms. You know, some people like, I dance. Dance is my art. That's cool. You're making a dance. Like, this is my dance. This is how I express myself. I like that, bro. Whatever you do to take the things that are from your brain and bring them to the physical world, I love that. because I think that's the most unique thing a human being can do is like create something. Create something. Now, obviously, some people are like engineers or inventors, and they build things. They can be like, oh, I made this little robot, or I made this app, or whatever it is. To me, that's a form of art. If it's something that you thought of, a creative thing that you've conceptualized, and then you brought into this world, that's awesome, bro. And I wish I could do more to help people with that. I think that's where I'm going to lean a little bit more on the Epic D Guy channel, which is like, because that was the biggest thing is like niches. You got to niche down. And so Epic D Guy, I know it's music-based, but I'm like, what can I niche down even further? And I think my thing is, I think I can niche down to people that are learning. Like people that they want to build they want to make a band, they don't know how, or people that are just starting to play the guitar and they don't know how. And not that I do like literally music lessons, but like bigger picture stuff. Like, all right, you want to make a band? Well, this is, these are some avenues you can utilize to try to find people. All right, you got a band. How do you have effective band practice? How do you play out your first live show? How do you record music? Because a lot of people want to record music. They don't know how. They just bust out their phone, and then they put their phone in the middle of a basement, and then they try to, oh, this is our demo. Okay, well, that sounds bad. I'm not going to say it, but it sounds bad. You can actually record a really good demo if you just have a single input. Everybody has to record one at a time, but there's ways to do these things that I think I could show people, because it's like I started literally from the ground up, from nothing. I was like, I want to be a band. I want to have a band. I want to record music. All these things I've wanted to do. I've just kind of started doing it, and then I've learned and tried to figure it out and, watch videos or talk to people. Or like, I've always tried to learn more and more. And so I've gotten to this point where it's like, I'm still learning. There's still a lot more I need to do, but I know I have enough knowledge that I can pass some on. So I think that would be really helpful for people, for the music industry, is to like help people, musicians, these artists, help them grow. And I think that's where I can bring the next generation of that and start to, foster some of that from the Epic D Guy channel. Now, this channel, we talk about this all the time. I was telling Cheyenne, it's like, this channel's tough because it's everything. It's about anything and everything. But how do we niche down? Because you got to niche down before you can expand. You know what I mean? It's like everybody wants to be able to do anything they want and then have everybody be into that thing. But honestly, that only happens at the end. You know what I mean? Once you're Markiplier or Jacksepticeye, it's like, oh, I'll watch him. He's doing a cooking show now. It's like, then they'll watch it because they like him. They like the content that he already built and did and created relationships. So, yeah, I'll watch him do something else that's not that. Versus us, they're like, who the hell are these guys? Why do I keep saying their faces? And that guy's not even real. He's a cartoon. Why do I care about these people? And right now, they don't, except for Cheyenne, and I hope my father. Like, I don't really care either. But this is the thing. I'm like, how can we niche down into what we like to do that we're good at? And that's where I was like, when we came up with the New Year's Eve, I was like, I just like talking to people. But how do we talk to more people? And I know what my next video idea is. I just came up with this yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before. Because I told you, I said, I got to go into the city of Detroit. I got to go in there. I got to talk to these Detroiters. And I was like, how can I do that? Because we never walk outside. Detroiters don't walk outside. Especially downtown Detroit. Well, nowadays, downtown Detroit's been gentrified. A lot more white women walking their kids around. A lot more white women. That's how you know it's like, oh, they've taken over. Because they wouldn't have been walking around their kids around Tiger Stadium before. I'm telling you that. But now there's all sorts of these high-rises, all glass buildings. They've completely taken it over. But Campus Martius. Do you ever remember Campus Martius, Jason, going down there? That little hub of downtown Detroit?
Oh, yeah.
So there's this little, it's like, there's New York City, Chicago. You got these crazy downtown areas. Downtown Detroit's like this little circle. It's this little thing. Downtown Detroit really isn't much. There's Woodward, which is the big main road. There's now we have like Little Caesars Arena, Comerica Park, Ford Field. That's kind of all down one little street. Within a mile vicinity is pretty much all of downtown Detroit. You'd be walking 4 miles in New York City. I remember I got lost in New York City walking around myself. Miles and miles and miles. 20 minutes later, you're still in New York City. That ain't the way in Detroit. But they do something right now. They have it going on. I said, that's it. Right now they have the ice rink in Campus Martius. So they set up an ice rink. It's like they put, because it's honestly, it hasn't snowed enough. It's not icy enough to have natural ice, but They set it up like a hockey rink where they'll actually do artificial ice and they have to Zamboni it and all that crazy stuff. And so I said, oh, I know what I can do. It's a twofold video. It's going to be like, Al learns how to skate, and he talks the city of Detroit. Because I've never ice skated in my life. I've never even stepped foot on the ice. And I said, you know what? I've always kind of wanted to learn that. So I'll kill 2 birds with one stone, or I'll feed 2 birds with a single piece of bread, the vegan way. And I'll go downtown, and I'll try to set up my tripod and stuff like that where it's like on the side of the rink, and I'll be like, I'm going to learn how to ice skate, and I'll try to talk to people while I'm ice skating. It'll be hilarious because I'm sure I'm going to be really bad at it. I'm only scared of my knees. I'm scared of if I fall, I'm going to break my knees, and then I'm like, please help me. It's going to be like the worst crazy video ever, or it could be the greatest video ever. I don't know, but that's how I can talk to people, bring some entertainment value, and my other big passion is having new experiences, like trying new foods, going to new places, or doing new things. Never ice skated, need to talk to the city of Detroit, and I know it's just going to be a wacky time. So I definitely have to do that.
I really hope this doesn't turn into some weird Disney musical Al gets shanked on ice.
That'd be hilarious. Like, I'm like, hey, you know what motivates you? And some guy doesn't even say the devil. He's just like, got him. It was so funny. I had somebody comment in the video for that guy that was like, and for the people that don't know, I went to the city of Chicago and I asked people on the street, hey, what motivates you? Hey, what motivates you? Simple question. I don't know why I asked it. It was like, it literally just hit me right. I was walking up to somebody. I had no idea what to ask them. And that was the first thing that came to my head. The first thing that came out of my mouth. Hey, what motivates you? It was a nice old Mexican lady too. And she's like, seeing people and being happy. And I said, that's a great answer. That was the first answer I got. I said, seeing people and being happy. Damn, this lady's motivated. I love that. And so then I just started going up to everybody. And I went up to this one guy in particular that was really sus. I mean, he was sus. He passed me twice. In the video, you only see him pass me once. But he passed me once. Instantly when it was like the vibe of that guy, I was like, there's something not right with that dude. There's something not right with that dude. I don't know. He was weird. He was just walking weird. I don't know. I just didn't like it. So he walks by me, and I was like, that was weird. But then when he walks by me, because he walked by me this way. When he walked by me this way, I was like, I wonder if I should ask him. If he walks by me again, I'm going to ask him. And he walked by me the third time. And that's when I go up to him and I go, excuse me, sir, what motivates you? And he goes, what motivates me? Stealing. And I'm like, stealing? Oh, okay, I get that's the drive. And then he's behind. At this point, he kept walking behind me. I'm like, I turn around. Oh, that's the drive. And he looks behind my shoulder and he goes, the devil. And I heard it like on the back shoulder of me. I was like, the devil? Did I just hear that correctly? What the hell? I was like, man, I hope I got that on camera. And I look back at the footage and he's like, the devil. And I was like, what the hell was wrong with that guy? I told my dad about it. He's like, oh, he was probably just trying to troll you. Because my dad's like, I'd probably say the same thing. Something like that. I was like, I don't think so. If he was like on the camera, the first answer was like, what motivates you? The devil. I'm wacky. I would have been like, okay, this guy's a joke. But he's like, stealing. I was like, okay, that's kind of spicy, whatever. But then when he turned around, he did not have to say that behind my shoulder. And they're like, the devil. I was like, oh, I knew it. This guy was not okay. I knew it. It was just something about him. And then somebody put in the comments below that they're like, this guy is effing around and one day he's going to find out. I was like, bro, I'm just trying to spread some positivity out here. I'm just trying to ask some people what motivates them. Like, just, I don't know, get some, because there was a few people that had no idea. This one kid in particular, I said, hey, what motivates you guys? And there was these two, and it was so funny. They reminded me of me and you, because back in the day, me and Jason would literally wear the same shirts. We would wear the same shirts. We'd be walking around the mall, Full Metal Alchemist shirts, Metallica shirts, whatever it was. We'd wear the same shirts. We're like rolling, like, hey, bro, what's up? Like it was cool, Because who else does that? Everybody would be like, oh, why are you doing that? Who else? I don't see anybody else doing it. So we're twins then over there. These two kids walk up to me, and they're both wearing these Spider-Man shirts. And I was like, oh, these guys, gotta ask them. Walk up to them. Hey, what motivates you? And the one guy's like, I'm not sure. Ask him first. So I asked his friend, what motivates you? And he's like, money. I was like, okay, money is a good answer. Some people like the grind. They like the drive. I got to make some money. I understand that. That's understandable. And then I was like, okay, money, good answer. What about you then? He's like, I don't know. I was like, you don't know? I said, what gets you out of bed in the morning? He's like,
yeah, I remember that kid.
Nothing. I don't know. I was like, no, you don't know what you get out of bed for. And his friend's like, you got to lock in. And I was like, and I crack up about that all the time because I think about that when I'm not locked in. I'm like, you got to lock in because I got to lock in. And he's like, man, I don't know. And I was like, I think that should be your motivation. He's like, you're right. That's my motivation. I need to find something to lock into. And somebody put in the comment of that video, they're like, I think you just changed that kid's life. I think that kid was just like, holy shit, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. Because he wasn't like a little kid. He was probably like 19, 20, you know what I mean? Like he was an adult of some form, younger adult. And he just had no idea. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing this for. He probably went home and was like, what's my goal? What am I trying to do? You know what? I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. And then he goes to med school. I better be in that guy's like commencement speech. There was this random dude that walked up to me in the city of Chicago, and I would not be here unless it's that guy. I hope he sees this video. He probably, and this is the other thing. I should have business cards. Every person I interviewed, before I do this Detroit thing, I'm going to have business cards. So that way, any person I talk to, hey, add me. You'll see you later. You're going to see yourself. If you want to see yourself on the internet, you're going to want to add me. We'll grow subscribers like that. The more videos I do of that, literally anybody in the video is going to want to see themselves. So I would hope they subscribe. I'll have to sell it a little bit better. Like you can't just watch the video. If you watch the video without subscribing, you're bad. That's a bad person. Don't do that. Subscribe so you know when the video comes out, because they take me a while to edit these things. But that's what I was trying to accomplish. I'm just trying to spread positivity. I'm trying to make you people smile out there. I'm trying to bring people so hopefully some good thoughts, some thinking, some critical thinking. Like I'm just trying to get some stuff going here. Because honestly, every time I'm listening to my kids watch YouTube, sometimes it's rarely on mine because I skip so fast or I dislike or whatever it is. I'm like, I don't want to see this where it's just garbage. It's garbage ass content. These people are like, and it makes me so mad because it's successful. It's successful. You know how I could run a successful channel like this. Let me snap my fingers. Like this. If I wanted to be like these other trash YouTubers where everything's like the same, like, you gotta believe this is the craziest thing you've ever seen in your life. And it's like some clickbait bullshit. And it's just all like, and skibbity toilet, riz, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like I can make the most garbage bullshit in the world. And it could grow like that, bro. It could, because that's honestly the easiest thing to grow is the garbage shit that I see on YouTube 24/7 from everyone else's sources there. And I'm like, I want to bring something of substance, bro. Even if it's just me and my best friend talking the shit, bringing up some articles, talking about memories, revealing franchise secrets, whatever it may be, but there's something of substance there. It's not just like I'm seeing like, tier list of poops, hard poop, A tier, barely had to wipe, really soft diarrhea, F tier, I had to wipe 6 times. Like, I'm like, I hear this stuff and I'm like, bro, this is the most trash garbage shit that somebody put in the effort and time to like record, video edit, script, hopefully, like, and I'm just like, no, I can't.
It makes you wish you could do like a video comment and immediately just be like, poop jokes, Lois.
Bro.
Poop jokes.
It's crazy. And
the Family Guy thing.
And the other thing is, like, for me, like, when there's a natural cuss word, and I try not to cuss too often, but, like, it just naturally slips out. Like, if there's something like a shit or a, whatever, I try not to say the hard Fs. A lot of the time, I've been doing this. I don't know why this hit me a long time ago, but it's helped me stay away from the F. So I'll just, like, I'll spill my drink, and I'm like, F. The letter F. Because it's like I want to say, whatever, like F, the letter F. This is brought to you by the letter F. And so that's my version of saying F. And but then I'll see these videos where it's like it seems like they go out of their way to cuss because they think it's funny. And then every other word is F. Every other word is S. Well, it's never N, but it's like every other word is all these bad things. And I'm like, oh, man, it just seems like you're trying so hard to be edgy. You're trying so hard to be like, oh, look at me, I'm cussing up a storm. It's like, bro, once again, there's no substance there. You're just putting makeup on a pig. You think that's funny because you added a bunch of F words, but then you take away the F words, you look behind the curtain, and then you go, there's nothing here. This isn't funny. There's no context. There's no nothing. What is this person? So I'm like, that's where I'm.
And you're like, damn, I wasted my time.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm trying to do the right way. What I think is like, what can I bring to you people? What value can I actually bring to you people? Obviously, the first thing I would hope is some sort of entertainment value. You should at least be like, this is enjoyable. I don't get anything else out of it. Well, at bare minimum, I'm hoping you enjoy it. But two, like, can I get like that kid where it's like, man, obviously it's not all the audience. The whole audience is going, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. But is there one person I just changed? That's awesome. Is there one person that watches a video and they go, man, I was having a bad day, but that made me crack up? Because a lot of times when I'm having a bad day or some bad moments or whatever, and I see a video or I see something that just makes me laugh or cheers me up, I go, it just sets me on a better trajectory for the rest of the day. I might not even think about that video no more, but it changed my mood enough, so now I'm in a better mindset and I'm thinking about that. So, like, that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, man, so how do we get more of that without me physically having to go out every time? Like, I want to have abilities to make daily videos, but that's the part I don't know. So I told Cheyenne my goal here is to like do, I call it Operation Spaghetti Wall. And the theme of it would be like, I have a bunch of different video ideas to just do. Like, I'll just record on a random Monday a bunch of things where I'm like doing something, reacting to something, talking about something. I don't know what it is. And then just post them. And just see what it's like, because I would hope at some point, like, something sticks. And it's like, oh, okay, that got a bunch of more views than the other 3 ideas that I had. So let me do another video on that thing. Oh, okay, that one got as many views as the last video of that thing. Let me do another. And so that's how you can that's how most people find their niche, is they're like, well, let me do a bunch of things that I like. But for this channel, it's hard because the category is so random. It's so like nothing. It's like talking and stuff. I don't know. But it's like, it felt like all the other channels we started were too niche. Like when we started like the tech channel, or we started like the insane, it's like we had very specific ideas, and then it felt like we were too much in a box. And now we've eliminated the box, and now I'm like, oh shoot, we got to put some sort of box on this thing, but not such a narrow
like
box.
Any boxes, this has always been the case with you and me though. Like any box, like it's gonna go left.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's what's so hard about editing these things, especially like Cheyenne's over there, like watching the videos and trying to tell me what would be clips, is because like I have a string of thoughts, I have a thought, and you could see it. We started like this video with the angels, and then I went into the dream, and then the dream to the art, and the art to the ideas, and the ideas to the creativity to this channel to the niche. Bro, you think I'm just random? You think this is just like, I don't know where I came from? I knew where I came from. I know exactly how I got here. The problem is that's how I do everything. That is how it's just my thought process. It's like boop, 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 boop. I have one thing that leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. But what I was telling Cheyenne, the reason why this happens every time is because this show is my only outlet to say what's on my mind. In my whole life, this is the only outlet where I can talk about whatever I want, and I can talk about anything. I can bring up random ideas or old memories or this or that. It's like, this is the only outlet I have. So I have so much to freaking talk about because it's like all pent up. It's all pent up inside me. I don't get to talk to nobody. I mean, yeah, I got the band, but you think I'm talking to the band about old Little Caesar stuff? Like, no, bro. Or do you think I barely tell the band idea? I don't bring the band song ideas until it's like, I really think they're going to like this idea. And it's fully fleshed out. I have the lyrics, the vocals, everything. Everything's completely done. Then I bring it to the band. Because there's nothing more that I hate than when I bring something to the band and they're not hype about it. Because I'm like, oh, right. Bro, if anybody should be hype, it should be the damn people playing it. If anybody should be hype. So if I bring someone to the band, they're like, and I'm like, oh, man, I didn't even want to show you guys anyway. I didn't even feel like showing you. So that's why I just show Cheyenne. Because Cheyenne's like, oh, that's cool. You know, at least she'll say that's cool. Versus the band, I'm like, I don't know. And we already know Garrett's Mr. Negativity. I cannot wait to bust that out to him. I'm waiting for the right moment. Because right now he's called Rolls Royce because he's rolling. He's rolling all over the place. Too many rolls left and right. But to be honest, I think he should be called Mr. Negativity because he's like probably the most negative person I've ever met in my entire life. Everything is shit. Everything sucks. Everything's crap. Everything's trash. Everything's bullshit. Everything. There's barely anything that's any resemblance of positive. He's literally the the polar opposite of me in almost every single way. It's kind of crazy. The more I think about it, I go,
write a
he is the
song about
anti-me.
You should write a song about that, and then when it, like, you learn it, do all the things, and then don't reveal what that is about.
Yeah.
Until you're on stage.
Yeah.
And
To
then
be
just
honest,
like,
I think
"This
Mario
one's
already
for
did
you,
that.
Garrett."
I think Mario already wrote a song, and when I heard the lyrics and I went into it, I was like, is that about Garrett? I was like, is that about... Yeah, nobody talks about it. We're just like, oh, cool song. Everybody's like, cool song, Mario. Good lyrics, Mario. Very cool. And I'm looking at those lyrics. I was like, I think that's about Garrett. I won't say what song it is, but it's a song anybody could hear at this point because it's out there in the world. But I think, personally, Mario made that song about Garrett, whether or not he admits it or not. But I think that's what it was. And so I'm like, So that I've had that idea, too, because I had this one song idea because I was today, it was crazy. I don't know if you people have ever done this, but it's the most stressful, anxiety-ridden thing ever. I forgot my phone at home. I was on my way to work, and I'm like halfway there, and I'm like, oh, let me put on some tunes. You know, I wasn't even halfway. I'd say a third of the way there. Let me put on some tunes. Oh, where's my phone? Oh, no, my phone's not on me. Oh, my phone's at home. I said, damn. And I had a new hire starting today, and my job is I'm a teacher for adults. That's the easiest way I put it. And so I had to train somebody today. And so I said, man, I can't be late. I can't even turn around. I'm just going to have to go to work with no phone. And normally I'd be like, well, that's okay. I got my Apple Watch because we're in the future, and I got an Apple Watch. But the thing is, I deactivated the cellular line for this when I switched to Mint Mobile. Because I did. I switched to Mint Mobile. Me and my father, we went there. Because we had to take advantage of that $15 a month introductory. I thought, I was like, oh, maybe it is $15. And they're like, no. Well, I already got the renewal. They're like, well, yeah, the first one was, but now it's $40 a month. And I'm like, it's still a great deal. That's where I was like, it's still a great deal. But I kind of feel bamboozled a little bit because they didn't say like introductory rate or nothing. Like they didn't have the right terms for me where it was like, okay, it just made it seem like, oh, it's always 15. It's always. I'm like, oh,
it's still a good deal.
That's what I told my dad too. I was like, just so you know, it is going to go up to 40. And that's what's weird is they sell it in 3-month chunks. So I'm like, it's $120 per person. It's still better than T-Mobile. Sorry, T-Mobile, you're like the service. And this is a crazy thing. Mint just uses T-Mobile's towers. So it's like I went from T-Mobile to Mint. I'm still getting the same cell service, but paying 1/3 the cost. Even at $40, it's still 1/3 of the cost of T-Mobile, which is just nuts. So I was like, I can't complain, but I do feel a little bamboozled, Ryan Reynolds, but that's okay. But anyway, I forgot my phone, and I didn't have my watch, like, doesn't do a thing. So I was like, shoot. I hope nobody needs to get a hold of me today. So I just went through the whole day like, bum, 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 bum. But on the way to work, I was like, man, I got to listen to some tunes. I put on the radio. The radio's crap. So I'm like, man, I don't want to listen to this radio. So I was like, oh, I got my iPad. So I bust out my iPad, and I have my old voice memos because my iPad has my old account that I had before I got my new account back in 2020. At the end of 2020, so almost 2021. So it's all the older voice memos I have. I was like, oh, let me check out some old voice memos. So I pop in my AirPods. As I'm not saying like, oh, I'm watching whatever as I'm driving. I'm just putting on voice memos. I can listen to them while I'm driving. And I'm hearing old song ideas that I didn't do anything with. And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. And one of these, there's one idea I had was like, I never got to this because I feel like if I made it, the band would be like, I'm not playing that. But it was really catchy. I don't remember the exact melody in this moment, but it was like, all my friends are trash. It was really funny about all my friends being trash. And it was just like, and it was like kind of going off about them and everything. And I was just like, it was just hilarious because in my head I was cracking up because it was just like, it would just be funny, but they would be like, I'm not playing that. Why would I play a song about me sucking? About me being trash. Why would I do that? I'm like, because it's funny. It's kind of like a joke. It's like, you guys aren't like literally trash, but like, come on. You'd get it, but I don't think they'd get it. So I was like, that's a funny idea, but I can't do it. Maybe I'll change the song to be like, something else is trash, but in my head, I'm like, it's my friends. It's my friends. Damn it. These guys. But that's okay. I appreciate everybody in my life. Yes, including you, Jason. I appreciate you. Even the bad people in my life. I know there's a reason for these bad people because I'm like I said earlier, like if you can take something bad and make something good out of it, to me, I'm not saying it makes the bad thing worth it. Like, oh man, that traumatizing experience. Okay, it wasn't worth that, but I'm saying you at least had something positive come out of that. You know what I mean? Like when I have like certain of these songs that are like breakup songs or just heartbreak songs or like depression songs or whatever it is, and then I go, man, I'm obviously not glad that I had the breakup. I'm not glad this relationship's, ended or how it ended or whatever, but I'm glad I got something out of it. You know what I mean? It's like what do they call it? Like a consolatory prize or something. Like I got at bare minimum, at the end of the day, I got a good song. It's like, okay, got my heart broken, all that stuff. Good song. Good song. So to me, I'm like, hey, that's well worth it, I think. To me, because I put a higher value on the music because I'm like, how else would I have wrote that song? I wouldn't have wrote that heartbreak song if I didn't get my heart broken. So now somebody else can listen to the song and they go, man, my heart got broken too. Let me listen to that song. Oh, that's a good song. I feel that. I remember too. And that person, to me, that's the greatest feeling. And that's, as far as the music end of this, not the content end of this, why do I make music? Why do I write songs? Because I want to make songs that people feel, that people like, it's like what I listen to music for. You know what I mean? When I'm putting on songs and I'm like, man, I love hearing that song because it brings back memories of this. Or I love putting on that song because like when I'm in a really depressed mood, I just like listening to the song because it makes me sad. And I know that sounds backwards, but most people like me and you would be like, that's the way you kind of got to do it. Like I feel sad, listen to really depressing stuff.
It kills me when I see people like going through shit and they're like, oh, I just want to, like it could be anything, drink or like, I don't know, whatever they're doing to distract themselves. I'm like, no, just like, stop running.
Yeah.
Be sad for a minute. Like just really get into it and then really get out of it. You know what I mean? Like, that's important. Like
for sure.
You there's one person, one thing in the whole universe that you can never outrun. You, stupid. Yourself. You're always there. Like it's like, when you think about it, you're in your own world, you are omnipresent. You're always
you are there for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So like just quit. Stop running. Sit back, face your fears, be sad.
Yeah. Just dive in.
But remember to, get back up.
Yeah. That's why I like writing music where it's like it's almost like there's a relief in the sadness. There's a relief in the depression. Like I wrote this one song a long time ago. It was called Cheer Up Fuck. And I got the title idea from that one live show of Metallica. They were doing Seek and Destroy, and James Hetfield, he was going into the crowd. He'd go, Search it! And then he put the mic in somebody's face, and they'd be like, Seek and Destroy! And then he did this one dude where he's like, the kid grabs the mic, and he's like, Seek and Destroy! And he's like, cheer up, fuck. like, because it was so funny, because the guy was just so angry, so upset. It was just funny, and that always stuck with me. And so then I was going through this really depressive time, and that's what hit me. It was like, cheer up, fuck. So it was almost like a happy thing. So I wrote this song where it's like the lyrics are very depressing. But it's almost like a relief in saying it. Because the first verse is like, you have no friends, no one to talk to, no one to tell your problems, no one understands, no one loves you. That's literally the first verse. And I'm like, but when I sing it, it just feels positive. It's like, yeah, I know. I know that. No friends, nobody loves me. I get it. But the chorus was supposed to be the positive thing. We're here. You're feeling down. Well, and Dylan would be like, we got beer. I remember what he added. He's like, what about we got beer? I was like, I like that. We got beer. We're in your town, so don't fear. We're coming for you. It's just your luck. So cheer up. Fuck. That was the chorus. I still love that song to this day. That was the first technical riff I wrote, is the chorus of that. And I was like, man, it's that one meme. I got to figure out how to make money off of this. I was like, man, I got to figure out how to make this a song. And then I started writing more songs. So that was one of the first songs I wrote, was Cheer Up Fuck. But that was, for me, when I played that song, it was like, because people would listen to the lyrics and go, damn, that was real depressing, bro. But it seemed really happy. Like the chords, everything about it's like really upbeat. And I said, that's kind of the theme of this band, is like, it's called Epic Disappointments. To me, it's like, the music is epic. The disappointment is our lives, bro. Like, our lives are just shit. But we're just making the most out of it. We're just making we're just saying like, hey man, we get it. You know what I mean? And so a lot of the songs are like this weird paradox of like depressing stuff in an upbeat package, or really upbeat stuff in a depressing package. Like I try to do both. And so it's like, to me, that's the relief I get. And so when I love listening to my own songs. There was this guy, his name is Childish Gambino. He's what is that guy's, that famous actor? It's his son, the black guy from Lethal Weapon. His son is a famous actor himself, but he's also a famous rapper named Childish Gambino. I can't remember his real name, but that's his rapper name. And he was doing a stand-up, and he's like telling people, and he's like, people had asked me like, hey, do you listen to your own stuff? Or like he'll be driving in the car with, one of his friends, or, somebody he's hanging out with, and, he'll put on one of his songs, and they'll be like, you listen to your own music? And he's like, hell yeah, I do. This stuff slaps, dude. He's like, I love listening. Why would I make music I don't like listening to? And I'm like, I feel the same way. I feel the exact. I make music first and foremost for me. It's for me. I love listening to my own stuff. I just hope there's people out there that want to come with me on the journey. Here's the journey. You want to come out? Hey, I got a song. You want to listen to it? I like it. Do you like it? But at the end of the day, if I'm the only one that likes it, I'm all right with it. If I'm the only one listening to it, that's just fine with me. I don't care. But I hope there's other people out there that go, yes, I truly enjoy that. I see in the chat. Oh, Skip, I forgot to call you out. So, Skip, thanks for joining us today. Donald Glover. That's his name, Donald Glover. Absolutely. Good kid, a real talented dude, multi-talented, acting, music, producing. He does production now as well. Lots of cool stuff. But yeah, I feel the same way as Donald Glover. I think that's his name, Donald Glover, or is he the junior? Oh, Danny Glover, Donald Glover. That makes sense. I was like, what is his dad's name? I feel the exact same way. Hell yeah, I jam to my own stuff. Honestly, I listen to more of my own stuff these days than other people's stuff. Because I have demos of everything. Because I know most people would, if they heard that, if they had any semblance of the band, they'd be like, but you only have 6 songs out on Apple Music, Spotify. What do you mean? I'll be like, yes, I know, but I create a demo for me, for every song idea I have. And I have 30 songs on the docket. And you people only get to hear 6 out there. That's just how it takes forever to record these things. That's just how it is. Cheyenne said, calling out the comments and not mine, it's fine. No, because I wasn't looking at them at first. Because I was so engaged in talking. And then I looked over and I said, oh, man. But Jason's the moderator. Jason's the one. You see him in the chat? You think I could talk and chat at the same time? I can't do that. I'm not that talented. They're like, are you that talented? No. I can do one thing at a time. And if I'm talking, I do it. If Jason was talking, I would chat. Go ahead, Jason, say something. Cheyenne's like, I have at least 15 of your songs. And that's how I pay Cheyenne in demos. Because I figured, you know what? She'll enjoy this. And I could send her every demo right now, but I don't. They're like breadcrumbs. I gotta be like, if I send her them all, she's going to get sick of them immediately. So I can't, because this is the thing. She's just like you. Jason, if he likes something, he discovers a new song, he'll listen to it over and over and over and over and over. And I'm a little the same way. I like to do a few repeats. I might cycle it 3 or 4 times, something like that. But then I also like to savor it. So then I'll be like, okay, I listened to that a few times. Let me listen to something else. Or let me put this down. Let me do something else. So that way I can come back to it and go, yeah. Oh, heck yeah. No. Because it's like I get wanting to enjoy it. I just want to enjoy it again. But Jason, I remember like when we'd be like, I'd be at his house or living with him eventually. And it's like he'd have something literally on repeat. I remember your laptop where we'd listen to things. Boom, single loop repeat, just over and over and over again. I'm like, no way, dude. No way, not again. It's like, yeah.
So on my Spotify Wrapped this year, which I was actually upgraded to top 1% of Metallica listeners.
Yeah.
I might have told you about this, but there was a song in my like top songs. If you really want to hear it, I'll look and see what it actually is called, because I don't want to butcher it.
Yeah.
Anyway, this song came up on just random, and I was just like, oh man, I was in my feels that day, like it was bad. So I listened to it, and then that's all I did. the entire day. I left that one song on repeat, and like Spotify does this thing where they have AI make like a podcast type thing about your Wrapped, and they talk like, oh, the beginning
What?
of the year was like heavy metal, like, oh, you did
Yeah.
a lot of this, and you
That
did a lot
year
of
in
that.
review thing.
Yeah, but like AI doing it as
Yeah.
like a podcast themselves. It's two AI voices or whatever. So the song was "Everything I Wanted" by Billie Eilish, which is probably anybody who knows me is like gonna be like, "What? What you like that song?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I think it was like 196 times in the same day, like just 8 hours, the same song.
Loop,
Like
loop,
I'll
loop.
I'll
Go,
I'll
go.
do that. Like when I grab onto something, like that's it.
Yeah.
Like I'll literally go out of my way to be like, I'm gonna burn myself out on this. But that's how I am about everything. Like the people who really know me, it's like when I get into something, like you got hyperfixation,
Yeah.
which most people with ADD or ADHD do have.
Yeah.
I take that shit to the next level. Like I won't stop until I know everything about it. Like I'll
Yeah.
sit there, listen to this song until like. But you can ask Al, just like when we did the Metallica lyrics competition thing, and he was nailing every single one of them, and I'm like, too slow. It's it's like, yeah, I know these things like inside and out, but like to just blurt it out and have it right on the forefront of my mind is not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That one idea's got to battle with like 7 other ones just to get to the front.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, I totally get that. I get it. Like I want, because I'm the same way. It's like, especially if it's something that has backstory or like, and that's why I really like anime. I'm a super, oh, he likes anime. Yeah, no shit. No shit. And so that's the problem with getting into anime is because like for me, it's the same thing like Jason. It's like once I get into something, I want to know everything about it. Now I got to like, oh, what's the backstory? What's the lore? And especially if it's something that can be spoilered, I go, man, I hate spoilers more than anything because like especially when they're trolls. You remember there was that meme back in the Harry Potter day, like Snape killed Dumbledore. Yeah, man, spoilers are the absolute worst, especially from trolls. So if I know I don't want to get something spoiled, I got to read all the manga. I got to read everything. Now I got to see every episode that's came out. Like, I got to make sure I watch it in Japanese before they even translate it to the English. Even though I would rarely ever listen to the English dub. It's always sub. I'm just used to subs. Honestly, I think, yes, the voice actors do a better job in subs. But every now and then, there are good English dubs. Yu Yu Hakusho is a great example of an English dub. I think Rurouni Kenshin, they did a good job. Some newer ones, like... This one that's very popular this last year is called Furin, A Long Journey, about this lady. She's such a focal point in the job where if she didn't do a good voice acting job, you couldn't watch the show because she's 90% of the show. But she does such a good job. I'm like, all right, I'll watch it in English. If I know they're doing a good job, yeah, I'll watch it in English, especially if it's a show that is not necessarily such a action-driven show where it's like I may not be directly paying attention the entire time. Like that Furin show is like a slow-paced show. It's almost a slice of life sort of thing where there really isn't much going on, but at the same time it's not. It's kind of an action series, but it's just weird how it's set up, and that's why I think a lot of people found interest in it because it's like, oh, it's definitely different. It's definitely something new and different. But there'd be times where I'd be like, oh, let me check what's on my phone as the episode's going on. But if it's in English, you could pay attention. You're watching Japanese subs, you got to look at every word coming out or you're going to miss like an entire like core sentence or something that's like vital to the story. You look up, you're like, what's going on now? What's happening? Like you missed out on something because you don't know Japanese unless you like literally know Japanese. But what's funny is like over the years, there's at least a few words that definitely stick out that I try to like add in my real life just for random nonsense. What is nani? What? Or the other one that I was doing a lot was, oh man, I was just having this with my kids the other day. And I also taught them the itadakimasu. Like before you eat, they would like crack open the the chopsticks, and you're like, eat that, which makes it's like it means a lot of things. It could mean like thanks for the meal or I'm ready to eat or something like that. But I like doing that anytime I get chopsticks. I'm like itadakimasu. But now I've created mini versions of myself. I've cloned me, sort of, and so now I have these little versions of myself. So they see me going itadakimasu when we go to Panda Express or something. They're like itadakimasu, and then they do it too. I'm like, this is awesome. I love that sort of stuff. They like a little bit of anime too, but their favorite thing is Dragon Ball. We started Dragon Ball. What's funny is Dragon Ball is very, very spicy. That anime was like, oh boy, there's a lot of things where I'm like, I don't know if I should watch this with the kids because there's a lot of like naked Bulma and like all sorts of crazy stuff, perverted things where I'm like, oh, Dragon Ball, what are you doing? It's kind of crazy what they were getting away with back in the day because that's an early 90s anime, if not like late 80s, early 90s. But then Dragon Ball Z, that's a classic. I remember me and my little brother watching Dragon Ball. Oh, Dragon Ball Z, oh, we gotta fight, like that was awesome back in the day. And now they have a Dragon Ball Z that they started releasing back in like the late 2016, 2017, something like that, called Dragon Ball Super. And what's so funny is like kids from this era, like my kids, they like Dragon Ball Super more than Dragon Ball Z because it's like it's more geared towards them, which is hilarious because like Dragon Ball Z was geared towards my generation. So we actually rewatched everything. The whole Dragon Ball Z is like 250 episodes or something. They wanted to watch it. They'd put it on. Hey, can I buy on Dragon Ball Z? I was like, sure. We got through every single. We didn't skip nothing. Whatever we thought, there was supposed to be some filler. Blah. I was like, no, let's just watch it all. We'll just watch it all. And then we got to Dragon Ball Super, and now we're almost done with Dragon Ball Super too. They just love that. That's their favorite anime. Emmett got a little bit of My Hero. He enjoyed that. Elliot liked it too, but Emmett was really enjoying that. But other than that, I don't think there's anything else that really catches their eye quite like Dragon Ball Z, which is fantastic because honestly, I think it's one of the greatest. Obviously, so I see snobs and they go, like, Dragon Ball Z is actually trash and people only like it for nostalgia. Yeah, a little bit, but it's not like it's good, but obviously it was like an OG. It's an OG, so it's doing OG stuff. Yeah, the fights take 10 episodes. Of course. No shit, like just how it was.
Powering up in dialogue.
It just sucks when it's like, I see a anime where it's like, the fight takes 10 episodes and there's nothing substantial in the fight. But at least in Dragon Ball Z, it was like, oh man, there's a back and forth struggle, and all of a sudden you think the hero's defeated, but there's another, or maybe it's usually the opposite. You think the hero has got it. The evil villain has another level. And you're like, no way, not again. Evil villain powers up again. You're like, how will they get out of this one? Then they get more powerful, but then the evil villain gets more powerful, and you're like, no freaking way. That was what was cool about Dragon Ball Z, was like, you never got comfortable because the evil villains always got more powerful. There was never a point in time where you're like, oh, any of the heroes could just whip on these guys. Every time it was like, how the heck are they going to get out of this one?
That's what gave birth to things like One Punch Man and like crazy shit like that. They're like, no, there really is no actual challenge for this hero.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, it was because of Dragon Ball being like, oh, everything is such a challenge. Like, it takes so long to get through.
That's an anti-Dragon Ball. Literally, that's what the creator is like. I wanted to make something that was essentially making fun of these like superpower things where it's like, well, what happens if the guy was just so powerful he could defeat everything in a single punch? And so like nothing was an issue for this guy. I'm like, okay, and I checked out One Punch Man. I actually enjoyed it because I was thinking the same thing. How could you make a series interesting about a protagonist that doesn't have any difficulty doing things? But that's the struggle. It's like, how, that's what your thing is. Like, how is he not going to get out of this? It's like, how is the evil, because you're almost rooting for the opposite people to like, how are they going to put up a fight? Because this guy's going to destroy him. So they actually do a good job. I've only seen the first season. There's a second season out, but it's only on Hulu. I'm sorry I don't have Hulu. Out of all the things in this world, no, I ain't getting Hulu just for some One Punch Man. Because everything else that's good is on Crunchyroll, and there's just a couple other ones that are really good, and they're on Amazon Prime because Jeffrey Bezos was like, give me them. And lately in my adult life, I take the chance on animes now because now I'm like, I don't know, what's cool to watch out there? I'll take a chance on stuff. And so I've watched all sorts of anime where I would have never watched it as a kid just because of the title. I'd be like, that title's weird. And I wouldn't do it. There was this one, and I talk about this all the time because I'm like, I got to get Jason to watch this with me because I'll watch it again because I've already watched it again. I'll watch it again, and it's called That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. I would have never
That's
watched
amazing.
that as a kid. I'm like, what the hell is that, bro? Get
We
that
were
away
just
from me.
talking about that in the chat.
It's good. Or the one she said is Rudius Grey Rat. There's like reincarnation. I think the Japanese one's called Mushoku Tensei, but I can't remember what the English translation of it. But once again, it's like a really long title, reincarnated as a blank, blank, blank. I watched an anime, believe this or not, Jason. I watched an anime that said, I was reborn as a vending machine. I was like, I saw it, and I was like, all right, how is this a thing? Reincarnated as a vending machine. How is this going to be a show? That was a good show. That was a good show. It honestly was, because that was the thing I was thinking the whole time. How the hell are they going to make this an interesting show about a guy that gets reincarnated as a living vending machine? But they did, and they did a great job with it. I was like, that was good. And I love that it was a single season, because it's like, oh, it's done. Move on from that. Or there's
like
another... Fooly Cooley. Oh, well, I actually remember watching that as a kid, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. This is awesome. Like, that was fantastic. And that was only 6 episodes. You're right. Like, it was in and out. Quick. I love those single season. Like, not where it's a season and there's a big cliffhanger and they've never made anything past that. I like it when it's like, oh, no, we knew it was only going to be a season. We wrapped it up. It's in the box, good to go. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. Because you're so used to animes taking forever. And they have 3, 4 seasons. So you're not used to it, especially when they know it's a one season, because things progress quickly. By the episode 4, there's the big bad final boss, and you're already getting into some crazy stuff where you're like, these have serious repercussions that they're not going to be able to go back from. Like, dang, this is crazy. Bonkers. All sorts of
Full
good
Metal
stuff.
Alchemist, even at 50-something episodes, kind of felt like that.
That was pretty short for as far as like all the other animes were concerned around the time, all the
It's
major
hard,
animes.
like,
I
it's
think there's
the
only
shortest
52 episodes.
OG.
Yeah. 52. And that's what was crazy about Full Metal Alchemist was they did that anime so even though I really enjoyed the anime, but it was one of those things where I heard the manga was completely different, so I was like, man, I don't want people to spoil the manga. I better start reading the manga. And there was a lot of manga to read, so I was like, bro, I got to get through this. But I started to enjoy, because in the beginning it was like all the same. But there's a certain point where the anime was like, they caught up to the manga. And this is where most anime would just make filler. And they'd be like, all right, we'll give you time to catch up. That's what filler is. Like, you guys catch up, write more manga, and we'll just do some bullshit. And then when you guys have some stuff out, we'll collaborate again and we'll make more anime episodes. Full Metal was like, man, we don't want to wait for you guys. We'll just do our own thing. It's that Spider-Man meme. I'm going to do my own thing. So they just did their own thing. It was almost completely, utterly different. Everything about that first Full Metal Alchemist, completely different. How the homunculi are made, the main villain, the end, everything. Everything's completely, utterly different. They are 2 different anime. But I remember watching that first one thinking, this is my favorite at the time. Like, I'm like, this is probably the greatest one so far. Even though, like, it's like, I feel like a lot of ones where I'm into it, I'm like, that is my favorite. And then I get to the next one. That is my favorite, too. But Full Metal Alchemist, once that manga was, like, started going full force after the anime knew they messed up. They were like, oh, shoot, what are we going to do? So they were like, bro, we'll just do the anime again. So that they came out with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And when I heard about that, I was like, what a great idea. Most people wouldn't have done that. They were like, hey, it is what it is. We're like, man, we'll redo it. Let's redo that thing.
I wasn't even upset. Like, yeah.
I was like,
redo.
ooh.
I didn't even think about it as a redo. I was like, nope. It's a reimagination of the same characters, whatever. Sword Art kind of got away with that in a much different way. But no, man, I love the Funimation version and the Brotherhood equally for different reasons.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And honestly, they knew most people watched the first one because the Brotherhood, they breezed through like the first, basically what was the stuff that was the same in the first anime. They're like, yeah, okay, Edward did this. They went there. Yeah, you got that. Anyway, so then, and then it kind of just it's like episode 3 or 4 or whatever. It's like, all right, yeah, here's the different stuff now. Now we're in the different stuff. So it was really cool. It was like a new experience. So I do appreciate that. I'm a big anime nerd. Like, if you had to ask me, like, what is the one thing that you could do purely out of fun, and you could take your time and you'd be like, I didn't waste any time. I kind of would want to start an anime channel, but I know that is like so saturated, and it would be all this work to not get any relevancy in that I'm like, it would just be for fun. It'd just be for me. So I'm like, I'd rather just focus my attention on these things that I think, because this is the goal, people. They're like, what? Make money? Yes, the goal is I got to make money, because eventually I want to only do this, whatever this is. Like, obviously not just this. I'm like, you want to just do this live show every Tuesday and get paid? No, I understand that. This is the bullshit.
Honestly, if it got to that point, I think we would just do more of it, and in a more refined kind of way. Like now, what you guys are witnessing here is
truly
the fact
Backstage.
that it's only Tuesday, and this is not just the show. Like, we have kind of like a idea of what we want to touch on, and more so Al than me, because I think for the most part he just wants my genuine reaction to what's happening out there. But it's been a week for us, or sometimes more.
Yeah, sometimes we go a month. We're like, we got to catch up.
Yeah, so like all the rambling, all that stuff, like, yeah, it's there because we're not getting paid enough to do this every day and have like we got all the catching up out of the way. We got all the, nonsense and tomfoolery out of the way. You got to lock in.
Got to lock in. You gotta log in. If I had more time, I would structure things better. I would be like, I'm pulling up articles, I'm pulling up videos, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, I work a full-time job, plus I have a band, plus I'm a father of 2, plus I'm like doing church stuff as well on the side. It's like, I kind of got like a full plate, but I want to make sure I prioritize this because I know it requires work, it requires effort. But that's the thing is, like, when I'm talking to my band and they keep making me practice on Tuesday, and I'm like, bro, I was telling Jason before we went live, I'm like, practicing on Tuesdays kind of F's me, because then I don't get home until like 9:30. And then by the time I get set up and call Jason 5 times or whatever, it's like 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm like, so it's kind of a thing. And obviously it's like already 12:23. I was like, I'm gonna wrap up by 12. I'm really not going too much later. I'll go a little bit later. But this is the thing. Like, if I just had the ability to be like, all right, I'm gonna dedicate a certain thing. But the thing is, like, I have all these other things that always pop up, and it's like, I got to take time. And you would think, well, okay, well, why don't you just not, just don't do the live. Like I said, I almost didn't do the live show, or don't do that. Don't edit the recording. You're tired. Don't, go to bed or whatever. And it's this. And it's like, if I never start, if I never even get the ball rolling, the ball will never roll. You can't have a snowball go down a hill if you don't, A, start a snowball, B, roll it down the hill. You can't be like at the top of the hill sitting on snow and be like, when's the snowball going to form? Why don't I have my own giant snowball? Just something happened.
Just like you just happened to witness the fucking.
I'd say that happens.
Or something made a snowball, and you're like, oh, thanks.
I think that happens for channels that put out like one video, and their first video goes like viral, and they're like, oopsie. Oops, got 1 million views. And it's like, bro, I was even telling Jason, I was like, I don't even want that. I don't even want that. I want to wait to go viral until I know we can ride the wave. That's what it's called. Like, you got to ride the wave. Like, anybody that goes viral, you can tell who rode the wave and who got washed up on shore, because they weren't ready for it. Like, Hawk Tour Girl, she rode the wave. She's I still see posts, all this other stuff. I'm like, she did the right thing. Like, whether or not you like her content or it's like complete garbage or whatever we were talking about earlier, probably. But at the same time, is she smart enough to ride that damn wave? Yeah, she's rich as hell now. Except for I guess she scammed a bunch of people out of Bitcoin or whatever, or a Haktua coin, or I don't remember what it's called. But yeah, okay, she's doing some things bad. But the thing is, she knew, hey, people are talking about me. I should make a show. She quit her job. She went full force. She's like, I know I got something here because of all the viral content about me. And she went full force. I just don't want to do it that way. I want to do slow and steady, win in the race, build the subscribers. So we'll do this right now, so that way it's concrete into the live stream. But because I wanted to do something, I will put out a video maybe on one of those secret side channels that I was talking about, where I talk about the goals I want to make, and then how we're going to achieve them, and then I want to have like progress update videos, but I don't want to not waste them on this channel. It's almost like I don't want to waste this channel on this, because this isn't like content people would want to watch. But it's something for me. It's like a documentary of like how we talk about this backstage. I'm talking about backstage. Backstage with Alan J. It's super backstage. But I wrote this down because I wanted to have this concrete. What are the goals for like my channels, and what are the goals for myself? So I'll just state them now, so that way I can watch this video at the end of the year and see how close we got. So as far as this is the thing, and I want to make a video on this as well to help people on that secret channel that I want to do, where it's like help people make goals, because a lot of people, they just don't know how to do goals. Like they're just like, I want to lose 100 pounds, and it's like, okay, that's not realistic or whatever. So there's, we talk about SMART goals, but there's also like the type of goals. There's input goals and there's output goals, and there's also outcome goals. So it really depends on, like, there's certain things that if you're like, I'm gonna do X, or this, I'm going to do X this amount of times. Those are input goals. I'm going to input this amount of effort. And then, like, I want to reach a certain status. Well, that's an outcome goal. You'll have to do inputs in order to get that outcome, but that's not anything technically in your control. Like, you could put out 1,000 videos and not grow any subscribers. Like, that's completely out of your control, but you can have subscribers as a goal. So these are mostly outcome goals. I'm still trying to figure out what my input goals are, because I feel like that, to me, is where I'm like, man, I don't want to write myself into a box. Because like I said, when I was posting every day, it was just kind of such a hassle to always post something. And then I feel like I'm the type of person where it's like, you ever seen that one, I think it was the Friends episode, he walks into the office, he's like, if I don't flick the light switch on and off 6 times, my whole family dies. And it's like, to me, I'm like, I said I was going to post every day, and if I don't post every day, then I don't know, my house is going to burn down or whatever. It's like, I really trip myself up on when I make these really hardcore concrete things. So I like to give myself some flexibility, because I do have enough determination and what do they call it? Is it self-determination? Self-control, or whatever it is, to try to achieve my dreams these days. But back in the day, I could see like, no. Self-motivation. You know what I mean? I could drive myself enough where I don't need to like put myself in a pincer where it's like, if you don't do this, you need to light yourself on fire. But my brain kind of does that, where it's like, oh man, I committed to this, so if I don't do this, I might have to light myself on fire. So I try to stay away from goals like that. So these are my outcome goals for 2025. This is what we're trying to achieve. So for the Epic D Guy channel, I want to get to 500 subs, 3,000 watch hours. That's minimal monetization. That's where we can unlock super chats and memberships for Epic D Guy. And then for the Epic D Guy side social medias, TikTok, I want to get to 1,000 followers, because then I can unlock live streams. Instagram and Facebook, get to 500 followers. I think those are all manageable goals that I think would work really well for me. Then for the Al Silva channel, what you guys are watching right now, this is the Al Silva channel, same thing. If we can get to 500 subs with 3,000 watch hours by the end of the year, I'll be happy. I'll be like, guys, we did it. Do I think we could do more if we really put out the grind? Yes, I absolutely do. But that's part of the SMART goals, is what is realistic? Because I cannot really count on if people are going to subscribe or not. I could put out the most banger-ass videos that I think are the most banger things in this world. Like, I thought the Chicago video, I was like, this is going to slap ass. This is going to be so good. And then it got 100, and I'm not complaining about the 100 people that watched it. I actually appreciate that. But that was a video where it did better in shorts. It got 100 views in long form with maybe 4 subscribers, just a few subscribers. If you take all the shorts out of that video, you add them up, it's probably 100,000 views worth of shorts and over 100 subscribers. Probably 100 subscribers came from all those little shorts. So it was very successful as shorts. It just wasn't successful as long form. The problem is watch hours are only by long form. I could have a short that's 1 minute long that 1 million people watch for a full minute. That will not give me any watch hours. They only count long form content. So that's either they call it video on demand, regular videos that normally you would see on YouTube, or these live streams. Live streams add to the watch hours. So we got to get to 3,000 watch hours. Now, what's funny is on my Epic D Guy channel, it's already at almost 2,000 watch hours, even though it only has 220-something subscribers. And that's because I have one video all by itself that got me over 1,000 watch hours. And it's a video where I unbox my electronic drum set and I give my initial impressions. That's all I did. And I remember when I did that idea too, I was like, oh, I'm going to buy this drum set because I was going to buy the drum set anyway. And I said, well, if I'm going to be unboxing it, I might as well record me unboxing it, and then I could show people what it kind of sounds like. That'd be cool. So then I set up my camera. I didn't make a script or none of that stuff. I just said, hey, today I'm going to be showing you the Titan T50, and I'll give you my first impressions. And then I do the whole thing. It's maybe a 20-minute video, but because over 11,000 people watched this 20-minute video, it got me over 1,000 watch hours. So I'm like, that's what we need. We need like 10-minute videos, 1,000 people watch. 1,000 people watch 10-minute video. We'll get the watch hours like nothing. The problem is these really long live streams. I know Cheyenne's really into them and stuff, but statistically, the longer the live stream is, the less people want to watch it because they're scrolling by and they go, how long? 3 hours? I ain't watching that damn thing.
It's FOMO because like people do have a natural way of like questioning themselves, I guess I'll say in a nice way, is like, oh, well, shit, you know, there's all this subject matter that like I do, you know, every week I'll find this, and this interesting, but 3 hours, they're like, I'll fall off before I see the good stuff.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of like canceling it right off the rip.
And honestly, I know exactly what it's like because I had a friend that started a podcast. His name was Brian. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to check out my friend's podcast. And this was years ago. I wrote his intro song, and that was pre-I Miss Me. So there's a song I have out there. It's called I Miss Me. I wrote him. He was like, I'm looking for an intro idea. And I was like, oh, I got this riff. And it was called Moist Definitely. That was the name of his podcast. And I was like, and I just did the riff, and I'm like, at the end, there's no words until the very end. It's like, moist, definitely, blah. And I sent it to him. I was like, he might think it's shit. I was like, you don't have to use it. He's like, I love that, dude. That slapped ass, dude. Thanks. So I was like, oh, sweet. So he put out like a hour-and-a-half episode every week. And I was like, oh, cool. So I checked out the first one. I was like, oh, cool. And then the second one, I was like, oh, cool. But then the third one I missed because something happened. And then the fourth one I missed. And then so he came out with the fifth one. And I'm in that mindset where it's like, oh, shoot, I didn't listen to the third one. Well, I got to go back and listen to the third. Oh, I don't got time right now. All right, I'll have to catch up on the third one later. And then, oh, but now I've already missed 4. Oh, now I'm too behind. And it's like I got too behind. And I felt like if I wasn't on every episode, I shouldn't even watch them. And that was the problem. And that's why I do have some hesitancy to even episode number these. Because I don't want people to think like there's any sort of chronological fashion to the shit we're talking about. There is literally no sort of canon for how these episodes go. There is no backstory, none of that. That's where I'm like, I don't know, but I'm doing it more like in a Joe Rogan sense where it's just like numbered episode. Just so I know, oh, that's the 300th episode. None of the episodes have anything to do with each other. I'm just numbering for my sake. I'm numbering so I know how many of these things we put out. So I'm hoping that doesn't deter anybody. So that's where I got to get better with the titles. Because a lot of I'm trying to learn from other podcasters or videocasters and stuff, and they put like one interesting thing that they talk about. Yeah, it's a 2-hour podcast. They put one interesting thing as the title. So I put, are Plasmoids angels or demons or something? I can't remember what I put for the title of this video. We talked about that for like 20 minutes. That's it. And I knew that, but it's like you just need one catchy little thing, click on it, hopefully they watch it and they go, oh, that's pretty cool. But the problem is that thing probably should have been the first thing we talked about before we pre-gamed or something. There's so many rules on people's engagement, like and click-through rate. There's all sorts of things that you have to, it's not even like you have to abide by the rules. It's not like, oh, the rules make or break you. It's the psychology of human. If you do not literally try to gear your shit to how people think, how people react, how people are going to click, they will not click on you. They will not stay long enough. They will not be engaged on the content. Human beings are very, what do they call it? Like hive mind. Like there's a lot of stuff where it's like, there's enough information out there where we kind of know how people are going to react and think. Everybody's a unique individual human being, but at the end of the day, like everybody has very similar. That's why there's rushes at dinner. Why is like, man, I went to go eat dinner and everybody's going to eat. Is that weird? Like, yeah, that you would think that's weird. You're like, there's no way 100 other people had the same idea to go eat dinner at the same time. Yes, they did. Yes, they did, because it's like, oh, hungry now, about dinner time, go eat food. Like all human beings, they have like that sort of hive mind mentality where we think very similarly, depending on, the type of person we are, males, females, age. There's all these demographics that affect you a different way. But there is some psychology we have to follow. So that's where we're figuring these things out. I know we've done some refinement as far as the show goes. And then plus, like, honestly, I'll just be dead honest with you guys for the first, I don't even know how many episodes. Let's say the first 10 episodes. I was high out of my mind. Okay, I was eating gummies. I was smoking digital e-pen weed and stuff. I was really high. So that's why that first episode's so funny, because I was gone. I was absolutely gone. I'm like, Jason, do you know who invented the straw? I watched that back and I was like, man, I was really high. I was really high.
To be honest, that those times are kind of what inspired the show to begin with. So
that's because it was like I needed to be just free. In those few episodes, I was free. I'm doing whatever. I'm talking about anything. I'm talking about metal dragons. Is that why PETA killed the metal dragons, Jason? Because that was the randomness that I needed to, like, it's almost like shake it off. You just got to shake it loose. Now, obviously, I think there is some of that fun to be had. We still have some of that fun because some of this shit doesn't make any sense. It's wacky. But I'm just like, in the beginning, it was complete, utter freeball. It was complete, utter chaos. Like, everything was just off the cuff. There was nothing of structure. And as you watch through the episodes, you see it gets a little more refined, a little more structured, a little more refined, a little more graphical. Like, I try to do things to make it better. Now this is episode, I believe, 16. Or maybe it's episode 17. I forgot the title already. And we've come a long way since episode 1. Even though I think, personally, episode 1 still slaps. I still think it slaps.
Oh,
I was watching that for making shorts. It's like cracking up.
T-shirts are going to come from. All of our T-shirts came from that episode.
Yeah, so everybody, you'll have to go back to the first episode to, like, when we have, and especially the other channels too, because we have like secret stuff where we talk about like the great waffle escape of 2018. I can't remember that one thing that was like a really random thing where like, we need to make that a shirt. The great waffle escape of 2018, because that was what Google AI, we were doing this Google AI thing. There's still some of that fun to be had, but I need to make sure it's structured now, because there are other things where I want to be like, hey, Jason, because there's this other Gemini thing that I did for a test stream on Epic D Guy, but it's sort of similar where it was like you could talk to it and just do random stuff, and they made it so it's like a game of sorts. Imagine a little bit of D&D sort of thing, but it's not so intricate, it's not so detailed or whatever, but it's basically like a role play with AI through Google's AI thing. I think it's called Gemini. And so I was like, oh, we should check that out, because that'd be fun. There is fun to have. This isn't a very serious show. I'm not saying things need to be serious, but I am saying there has to be structure. So that way it's very easy. When I watch these other bigger content creators that are doing the exact same thing we're doing, essentially just talking about random topics or bringing up things, they have such structure that they just chop out this is the 20 minutes we talked about the UFO thing. Boop, boop. Here's the 20 minutes we talked about our old Little Caesars experience. Boop, boop. And that's how they don't make other content. They just do one show, and then they chop out the content from that show to do the video on demand. And that was where I was like, man, that's what we got to do, Jason. But it's very hard because, like, when I'm looking in the chop, I'm like, where do I end it? Because it's like one thing goes to another, goes to another, goes to another. It's like the whole thing, almost the entire show has a giant weave. That's where I got to get better at. As the show host, I got to go, all right, well, let's talk about this now, and then set a timer or something. And then when the timer goes off, I need to know, like, all right, how do I wrap this up? All right, now, and that's pretty good. Like, when I watch this, there's this guy, he's a political YouTuber named Tim Pool. And I've been watching him since he was not a small channel, but much smaller than he is now. Like, he had a few 100,000 subscribers, which to us would be like gigantic. I can't wait till we get like, oh, we got a few 100,000 subscribers. I'm like, no way, this is nuts. But now he has like 3 million. So it's like big ass jump. And so, but what he does, he has a live show every day, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. They do a live show. and then he'll bring up an article or a topic, and he'll be like, all right, so let's talk about this. Did you know Joe Biden, he ate a chocolate chunk ice cream, and then he farted out of his nose or something? You know what I mean? Whatever it is. And then they'll talk about it. They'll discuss it. They'll be like, oh, that's weird. Can't believe Joe Biden's doing this stuff. And then at some point, he's done with it, and he'll be like, all right, let's move on to this next topic. So this is space aliens are coming to kill us all, or whatever he's talking. And he just has segments. And it's perfect because then his editor just goes, oh, here's point A, here's point B. Here's the 15-minute segment. I'm like, bro, that's the easiest thing in the world. And this is the craziest part. Every morning, he does a live show. He didn't used to do live shows, but he realized he's like, I can get a 2-for-1 because he used to just record content in the morning and then release it throughout the day. But then he's like, people honestly don't give a shit about the chopping or anything, and they think it's kind of cool to see like a little bit more raw. So now he does a live show in the morning where he does his segments that he would have chopped out normally, but he just does one big-ass 2-hour live show. And then throughout the day, he takes the sections of that live show and makes them his daily news content that gets them through until the live show at the end. And it's like the perfect cycle of content. And I'm like, bro, that's perfect. Now, he has so much specific niche because he's a political commentator. So he has very specific things to bring up, very specific things that his audience is looking for. So it makes sense. That's where I was talking about earlier. Like, what can I do that's not this live show to supplement the live show? So that way we have the live show content, we have sections of the live show content, and then we have things that I supplement throughout the week as daily add-ons that aren't live show. They're just, it's a thing. That's where I can't figure it out. I'm like, what do I do? I've seen some articles where I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to talk about this. They could work just me talking about them in the live show with you, like discussing them. But then I'm like, well, let me try to do certain of these ones, like maybe as just an offshoot, and see if anybody would watch them, because that's the thing is like, I need to be able to flood. That's how everybody gets, is like, you cannot just put out one thing a week. Like Cheyenne was like, well, I think it's because the Al Silva channel, the only videos it has on there are the live shows. Versus the Epic D guy, it has a bunch of, I have video reactions, I got like the commentator, I got the video reviews, I got like all that stuff, and I got unboxings, first impressions, I got the how to make a song video I did, and it's like, there's a variety of content, so there's always something to watch in a bunch of different stuff. I was like, that's what we got to figure out for this channel. What is the different stuff we can do to supplement? It can't be different where it's like, this doesn't make sense for this channel, but it has to be like something that I probably wouldn't do on the live show. Maybe it doesn't work in a conversational piece, but it works as in like just a, hey, let me bring this up. Hey, did you guys hear about this? Like, comment below if you heard about this, and here's my take on it. And it's literally just my take, and then it's a short video, less than 10 minutes. I'm not saying like hour-long things. Literally less than 10 minutes, 8-minute video. Boom. Here it is. And I release one of those things a day. That would be the idea. So maybe in the daytime, I release one video that's just like an offshoot, and then at night, I release a chunk of the live stream. And then that gets you through until every Tuesday. And then what I need to do is make one of those end promos where it's like, you watch the video and at the very end, it's like, if you enjoyed this clip of our live stream, join us Tuesday nights at approximately 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our, getting ready backstage with Alan J. So that way, those clips, if they enjoyed them, they go, oh, this is a live show? Because they might only see the clips. And I want them to join the live show because I want them to be able to like interact with us live and chat. We got somebody else join the chat. Carolina, hi. So that's fantastic to be able to get people live. I love the live thing more than anything because there's something to be said about this. I know you're somebody's out there behind their phone. They're typing, hey, what's up? And I'm here behind a camera and I'm looking. This is live. I know we're not in the same room, but we're like almost there. I can almost feel on the other side. I love that. That's crazy. I do love producing the other type of content, but it's a different feel. It's a different vibe, man. It's a whole different thing. This is where it is. Right here, live. F it, we're doing it live. I love that, dude. So I'm hoping this is the core of this channel. But how do we supplement the core? We need to build the core. Get them all funneled. They get them all engaged. They're like, man, I got to stay on this channel. Oh, and they do a live show every Tuesday? And that's where we got to build the consistency of live shows. So the problem is when Walmart F's me by making Jason work on Tuesday, I don't want to have to take Tuesdays off. So I need to be able to like just have either just go live or always have a guest. And that's where we talked about this before. It's like, how do we bring more people on that I think most of the bands, they always tell me, they're like, bro, I can't do Tuesday. I don't think we get any bands on Tuesday. That is a Sunday edition of Getting Ready Backstage. But the Tuesdays, now that we have the Skype, and we kind of proved the concept with my dad that we can have multiple Skypers, even though it had that issue with both people talking. I think I figured that out, Cheyenne, because she was like, they were both moving at the same time. I think I figured that out. I redid all the frames. I redid all the behind-the-scenes OBS crap that nobody cares about. So I think I got it now where it'll be individual. So because I have that, I think now I have the ability to have people call in from wherever they are. And so now I need to start reaching out and getting people, especially bigger channels. If I can get any channel that's bigger than us, like Golden Gambit, bro, that guy is doing us so good. So good. He only lives on Instagram for some reason. He doesn't have any YouTube presence, and that's what's sad for us. But, bro, he keeps posting shorts from the show we did, and they get thousands of views. I'm like, damn, Golden Gambit Sensei, this is my boy. So I'm like, he's doing us a good favor on Instagram. But we need YouTube. This is our bread and butter. Yes, I want to grow TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, but like only as a supplement to point them to YouTube. This is where we need to exist. This is the biggest platform in the world. Okay, I know people will say, well, Facebook has 2 billion users. I get it, but Facebook, it just ain't the same. As far as content, eating content, there's nothing that consumes more content than YouTube. It has over 1 billion people consuming, like, I don't remember the last statistic, it's like 1 trillion hours of video every day or something like that. Like, this is where the eyeballs are. This is the easiest platform to grow because the YouTube algorithm, I know I was making fun of it that one day, and then it shadow banned me because it was like, bad. I'm telling you, I love the YouTube algorithm. I love it. I love it, bro. I'm not being sarcastic. I promise you. YouTube, I'm not playing with you. Let me look him right in the eye. YouTube, I am not playing with you. I love your algorithm. I truly do. I think it does a fantastic job. I think when I look at a video, I know when it's my thing. I know when it's like, oh, the content ain't good enough. Because YouTube will show me impressions. It'll show me click-through rate. It'll show me audience retention. If YouTube just puts it out in front of 1,000 people and only 50 people watch it, that's not YouTube's fault. That's my fault. I should have made better content. I should have titled it better. I should have had a better thumbnail or whatever it is. I did something wrong. At least I know YouTube tried. And I'm telling you, my boy YouTube, it always tries, except for those 2 videos after it shadow banned me. It's like, bad, you bad. And I said, okay, I'm bad. I got you. But after that, once again, it does a fantastic job. All the other algorithms, the TikTok, the Instagram, the Facebook, those are grab bags, bro. I don't know how those function because I could post the same exact content on all the platforms, and I'll do different styles. And the other platforms, they're willy-nilly on what's good, what's bad, what it gets impressions, it's all willy-nilly. YouTube's consistent. YouTube has a thing that it knows that it's our audience likes or things like that, and so it does a really good job, but everything else is hit or miss. That's why I'm like, I'm not really trying to grow on the other platforms, but I want to, because I think other platforms are good for other things. Like, I love TikTok in how raw it is. I love that TikTok, it actually, when I put more well-produced stuff on TikTok, it don't like that. It's like, give me that raw stuff. I don't like that video editing bullshit. Give me that raw camera. I'm just holding the camera. Boop, boop, boop. It loves that sort of stuff. So I'm like, I like that. That's why I want to get 1,000 followers on TikTok so I can go live on TikTok. Because that, like, when I'm scrolling on TikTok, I come across a lot of lives through my algorithm. I haven't added them. They're not my friends. I just see, oh, this guy's live and he's playing the guitar. This guy's live and he's playing a game. This guy's live and it does a good job showing off live people. And so I want to be able to do that on TikTok as like a supplement, as like a, hey, man, I'm just chilling out playing the guitar, and I don't want to make a whole big YouTube video about it because I don't want to edit it and have all this whole process. Can I just put my phone up on a tripod and have you guys be like, it's almost behind the scenes again on me making the song or me jamming out, or I'm just doing some practice before the show, or maybe we're hanging out. at the place, behind the scenes at the show, and it's like Instagram, it don't like that. I know somebody's like, oh, you can go live on Instagram. I think Zachary was telling me that because he goes live on Instagram. I'm like, it don't like that. Instagram likes a more professional type of thing, even more than YouTube, which is sad. So Instagram's really hard. I think Instagram's the hardest algorithm. There's so much stuff where I'm like, bro, it's not even, to me, it's not even worth it. I don't even think Instagram's that great of a
They all
platform.
just feed into each other, to be honest with you, at this point.
There's a super Skynet behind the scenes. Is that what it is? Taking everything? There's one algorithm. I don't know. I don't think so. They all act so different. They're so different. There's no way. I think they wish. I think they were like, bro, I think Mark Zuckerberg and whoever owns YouTube, and he's like, bro, let's get together. Let's just get to, can we see that algorithm? Can we see what's behind the scenes? Everybody wants YouTube's algorithm because I think it's well known. It's the best one. It's the best one. I think TikTok, they probably do a good job for their stuff, but they're looking for different things. Now, I heard nefariously that TikTok, they actually look for like content that is like more random bullshit because they want to keep people dumb because the Chinese own it and they want Americans to be stupid. Yeah. TikTok, because the Chinese government owns TikTok, so they're like, oh, make the Americans stupid. What goes viral? Ooh, pretty dance. Dancy girl. It goes like this. They're like, yeah. In China, first of all, the Chinese TikTok is completely different. But in China, you know what goes and I've seen articles about this. I should have had this ready. They're like, you know what goes viral? Mathematics, science, rockets.
Mathematics.
Yes, they're like, oh, here's a mathematic formula I came up with. That goes viral. And it's not because everybody's like, oh, I got to see it. The algorithm, they push it. They're like, oh, wow, push it to everybody. Make them smart. Our people smart. Americans dumb. Like, so I can kind of get that. Because honestly, that's a lot of the biggest. Think of the biggest TikTokers. What do? I make funny faces. I do dance. I lip sync to something. It's the dumbest shit. It's the dumbest shit. Those are the top TikTokers. There ain't no, I mean, the only scientists, yes, Bill Nye. That's because he's a household name. And what is it? Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever his name is. Those are household names. Other than that,
him for a long time.
To me, he just seems like too, I don't know, arrogant or something. He always seems condescending. Like, oh, people think that the ozone is this. It's not. Hello? And it's like, okay, bro, like, not everybody's a scientist. Not everybody's an engineer. Like, not everybody's like that. You know, he always, to me, sounds like he's talking down. It's never like, hey, you guys got, like Bill Nye, he was always like, this is fascinating. Did you know that dry ice will rip your face right off or whatever it was? And it's like, well, that's pretty cool. Thanks, Bill. Bill. But Neil is like, bro, this guy seems like a dick. I don't know. That's the vibe I get off of him. That's the vibe I get off of him. But, you know, I get the entertainment that he does, and he makes science fun for people, and I think that's important as well, because if science is all too boring, nobody wants to get into it. That's what Bill did in the 90s. That's what Neil's doing in the 2010s. Now we're in the 2020s, I guess, at this point. Halfway through the 2020s, which is bonkers. But I get that. And so that's why I'm like, okay, we got to find what we do. And I think YouTube is the place to be. So I'm glad to be here. I'm excited to get this year kicked off. This is our first episode of the year. Went long specifically because I knew, F it, that's what I do every single time. I'm going to watch back this episode at the beginning and go, I'm not staying on late. I promise you people, I'm not doing it. I do it every time. That's why I need more structure. If I don't have the structure, I will do a live stream we've been streaming for 2 hours and 22 minutes. Not again, Jason. How do we get this down to an hour and a half? It's going to be too hard. That's like when I do my shorts, I have to do like 20 takes. Not because I keep screwing up. It's because I look at that and I go, oh, it's 1:03. Oh, it's 1:05. And I'm like, damn, how do I get this under 60 seconds? Reducing is the hardest part for me. I got content. I could have content for days, bro. If you just let me talk, I can be talking for days at a time. At some point, we'll probably do a marathon stream. I don't know when that's going to be, and I'll prove my point. I'll be like, I'm going live until I can't function anymore. and we're going to see how many hours I could go just talking. And I think I will be fascinated even with my own results on that, because I see all those on Twitch, right? Subathons. I'm not stopping streaming until we reach a certain amount of subs. We're going to do the same thing too, but we need a good milestone for it. We can't just do it willy-nilly. You know, we can't, we're almost at 200 subscribers. I'm not, no, bro, that's not worth it, because I'm going to have to, like, get no sleep for a couple days. Maybe 1,000. I think 1,000 might be like, all right, here's the big show. Jason, can we get to 1,000? We're at 900. I'm not stopping streaming until we get to 1,000. Maybe that's the first big subathon.
I feel like that could go one of two ways. Either A, it's like, boop, immediately, that one.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Beep,
all
beep,
right, stream's over. Or
I'm
like,
streaming for a week. And it's like, please, people, I want to sleep. Please let me sleep. I'm like begging them. But this is the thing. I've seen those subathons where they're like, yeah, they'll be on for 18 hours. And they're like, I'm going to bed, but I'll leave the camera on. And it's like, yeah, I would honestly live 24/7 on live if it was interesting enough for people to want to tune into it. I really don't care that much. The only thing that kind of trips me out is, like, you know, I don't want to have to sleep with all my clothes on all the time. Other than that, you know, whatever I say, I truly don't act any different not on this camera than I do on this camera. I'm the same human being. If anything, I'm more raw and authentic to this camera, and I'm more shy and reserved off the camera. Because this, I can let I let it out. This is me, baby.
Weird? Like,
Which is so weird. Most people are like, there's so many videos out there, tutorials on how to talk to yourself on camera. Tutorials how to be on camera. And I'm like, bro, nobody had to show me. I just go, oh, there's the thing, a circle. The circle there. I talk now. And it's like, that's it. I just go. I feel like I've been born with this ability for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, no, I would totally live stream 24/7, especially me sleeping. That would be way easier. Because there's girls out there that, like, that's how they get their bread and butter. They only stream when they're sleeping because people want to watch them sleep. They go, oh, look at them sleep. And they start sniffing their screen or whatever. They're like, I like watching them sleep. It's really creepy. I don't know. I wouldn't watch that stuff. What are you enjoying about them sleeping? Are you thinking like, oh, it's kind of like me sleeping? It's like I'm experiencing sleep through them or something. I don't get it. But, hey, get your money. I'm all about getting your money. I don't hate on anybody for that sort of stuff. I hate on the concept of the idea. Like I was talking about earlier about all these YouTubers where they're just like, I'm tiering toenail clippings. Giant toenail clipping, F tier. You know, it's the dumbest shit. And it's like, bro, to me, that's the dumbest shit. But I ain't hating on the fact that you're trying to get money. Me too. Right. Get your money. The fact that people clicked on you and people are watching you and people subscribe to you, that it honestly says more about the people than you. And I know that sounds messed up, but I'm telling you, like, somebody's watching it. I feel more feelings towards those people. They're like, oh, man, I got to see that new video about that guy talking about poop again. It's like, really? Really? I want to put out a video because it was like I saw this article that was like, millennials consume, like, on average, like 6 hours a day of social media or video content, something like that, right? And you got to think, well, damn, 6 hours. You got to sleep for 8 hours. You go to school or you work for 8 hours. You're doing something for 8 hours. You're sleeping for 8 hours. That only leaves 8 other hours. They spend 6 of the 8 hours either engaging on social media or watching content in some form or another. And you're like, damn. So it really made me think, to me, that would be the question I'm putting out as some sort of motivation or positivity. What are you consuming? Because it's kind of like what you eat. What are you eating? You're only eating donuts all day, every day, and they're like, why do I wait all this? Because you only eat donuts. If you're like, man, why am I? Well, I mean, I don't think anybody asks, why am I so stupid? But it's like, you know, why don't I know more things? Why don't I have more skills? Why don't I know? Well, what are you consuming? You're consuming brain rot content all day? Well, you added no value. You spent 6 hours adding no value to yourself. But you consume a lot of educational content.
Mental ramen noodle.
I'm consuming, you know, how to cook this. Not me, personally. I mean, if I wanted to know how to cook something, I would. But, you know, that's what I would say to myself. What am I consuming? I always wanted to play the guitar. Well, how many videos did you watch playing the guitar? Because I know you're going to watch 6 hours of video. Statistically, you do. So could you spend 2 of those hours watching tutorials on how to play the guitar? And then maybe spend another hour playing, or at least attempting to play the guitar. That's where I'm saying people, I think anybody could do what they put their mind to. The problem is, what are people putting their mind to? And I think most people take their mind off. They're like, oh, I don't want to put my mind on something. I want to engage on social media or YouTube or whatever to kind of take my mind off. And I get that. Because as a person that consumes content, there is content where I don't want to watch, like in the morning, I don't want to watch anything of heavy substance. So usually I watch, especially in the football season, I watch like football commentary. And they'll be talking about, oh, in this game, and the Lions, and doing this, and whatever. And I'm like, because it's not something that's it's not educational. It's not something where I got to pay attention to. Like, I could be brushing my teeth, I can make a breakfast, whatever. It's kind of like almost background noise, but it is something that I'm interested in. So I'm engaged in some form, but it's not heavy. It's not heavy content. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to put on in the morning I learn how to play the piano. Like, bro, I'm not paying attention. I'm not really all the way awake in the morning. So I could see that, but that's where people just need to ask themselves, what is the content you're consuming? I love that fact on your iPhone, and I'm sure Androids are like, we can do it too. Okay, you can do it too. I just know on the Apple ones, you can see your screen time, and you can see how you're spending all your screen time. So I'll just go to my screen time. So on average, oh, look at me, millennial over here spending 6 hours on average on my phone. And so where does it spend most of the time? So then you go across this. You see your activity. It says I spend at least 22 minutes a day on notes, which is funny because that's like every time I have an idea, I bust out the notes. Oh, idea time, lyric time. But I think it's most of it, let's see here, on YouTube. I'm a YouTuber that's YouTubing. I watch a lot of YouTube. But to me, that's the future of TV because you can take it with you. You can take it with you to go. But I'm always asking myself that, like, what am I watching right now? Is it bringing any sort of value to me? Because if not, I just don't. I don't. I want to have something of substance that's doing something. Is it informing me of something? That's why I watch some political stuff because, like, I'm not completely entrenched in the political atmosphere, but I like to be aware. I like to know kind of what's going out there. Or I'll watch, like, I watch a lot of content on how to be a better YouTuber. You guys think I'm willy-nilly in this? You think I'm like trying to do this raw? No, I'm actually trying to learn. So you're like, he's trying to learn, he's still this bad? Yes, because I have much more to learn. I'm always looking at how to be a better content creator, how to grow on YouTube, how to make better thumbnails, how to make better titles, like whatever. I think that's probably the majority of the content I consume is like just educational stuff on how to be better at this. So I can be better at this for you people, because I know you're the ones that have to watch it. I mean, I'll watch me too. But I thoroughly enjoy it. Even if it's garbage, I would enjoy myself. You're the people that are like, bro, if I don't enjoy this, I'm getting out of here. And then lately, this is for a whole week statistic, I spent on this last week 13 hours on this new Pokemon game, the trading card game Pocket. Trading card game Pocket. Have you heard about that one, Jason? They just released this. It's completely separate from the normal digital Pokemon trading card game online that they used to have for many years. They said, hey, let's make a pocket version. It's just an app that we know it's only mobile. This has nothing to do with the real cards. And the premise is everybody has the ability to open 2 packs a day for free. And then if you buy the premium monthly pass, you get a 3rd pack a day for free. And then obviously, if you're a rich boy, then you can buy coins, and the coins can buy packs or whatever. But, if you're just trying to play for free, you can open packs for free every day. And they're completely separate cards that are built for this new mobile system. And that was the problem I had with the old system was every game, because I'd like to play the Pokemon card game too, because I like the strategy involved in that game too. And I just like that it's still relevant to this day. Versus a lot of the old card games I used to play, they're like dead. They're like dead. So it's like, who plays these things? People still play Pokemon. And so they came out with this, and they're like, we're going to make the matches shorter. You're only going to have to win 3 points instead of 6 points. You're only going to have 20 cards in your deck instead of 60. You can only have 2 of each card instead of 4. So there's all these rules to constrain it to make it quick. So you can get in and out of a match in less than 5 minutes.
How
beep, beep,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
beep.
Did the 4,000 life points.
Yes, the speed dueling and stuff like that. So Pokemon's like, hey, we'll do the same thing. And what's funny is they came out with this, and it's mostly like the grown-ass adults like me. They're like, yes, I didn't have time for that full game. I really wanted to play it. I didn't have time for it. But yeah, I got 5 minutes every now and then. Boop, boop, boop. get a match in, open some packs. That's really cool. So I've been playing it since day one, and it's fantastic. They did a fantastic job at that app. I absolutely love that thing, and I love the fact that I got to start from day one. So it's like versus the normal game, like, bro, there's so many packs and expansions in, and there's so many strategies and different decks, bro. It's like it's almost too hard to get into these days. But now they got that, so I spent 13 hours. It was about 2 hours a day on that app, because honestly, the best part about the app is they have for when you're facing the computer, and you get rewards for facing the computer as well. You could just put it on auto battle. You let the computer do it. So I'll be sitting at work, boom, put my phone up, auto battle, let it grind. So a lot of it is just auto battling, let it grind. Because when you're facing a human, you got to pay attention, because people will get you. You get 30 seconds to make your turn or whatever it is. Like, they let you know, like, you got to have that sort of stuff. But they do a fantastic job. So Pokemon, I spend a lot of time on. For some reason, it says Google Drive, but I think it's because I listen to my demos through either Google Drive or VLC. I used to listen to a lot of VLC, but then I put all my demos on the Drive, so that way the guys can listen to them, and then I can share links out and stuff like that. So now I just listen to Google Drive. So it says 10 hours last week on Drive, but I'm not looking at it. I'm watching it. Facebook, another 9 hours. That makes sense. I think for Facebook, to me, it's like I'm always looking for, like, something, and there's never enough on Facebook. So I started adding groups, started adding anime groups and trading card groups, Pokemon groups, this and that. And so now I get a lot of content from groups. So it's, to me, Facebook is, I guess, my go-to social media, because there's like engaging content with conversation, versus Twitter is only conversation. There's barely any good content for that. And then Instagram is like only content. There's barely any conversation. Like, they each have their own silos. So I think Facebook does a good job in that conversation content wheelhouse sort of thing. So that's the only thing I get out of that. And that's about it. That's kind of where I spend most of my time, is those three things: Facebook, YouTube, Pokemon, and then obviously listen to music on the background of the app. I got to see what this is, though. There's something that's running on the background that doesn't even have a real name that it says I spent 11 hours last week on. And I'm like, what is this? SkyEmu.app. Oh, hang on. I'm thinking last week. Last week I was on vacation, people. First of all, I was on vacation last week. I did not work. Now I realize what SkyEmu is. Last week I decided, Jason, I don't know why I took so long to do this. I wanted to play. I actually bought this a long time ago. It's a Pokemon Yellow. It's so weird that yellow is almost green, so it's taking it away. It's a Pokemon Yellow Game Boy Color cartridge that I got off eBay, because I was like, Pokemon Yellow, that's my favorite game of all time. Pokemon Yellow. So many good memories, fantastic nostalgia. But I don't have a Game Boy Color. And I only want a specific Game Boy Color. It's this Pokemon Yellow Edition Game Boy Color that my mother got me when I was in 6th grade. That's the only Game Boy Color I want. I don't even want another Game Boy Color, and those go for $100 or $120. And so I'm like, bro, I just don't have the money for it. But then I was like, man, I really want to play an old school Pokemon, but I don't want to play Yellow because I want to play the real one. I was like, man, I kind of want to play Red or Blue. I was like, I'll play Blue because, War Turtle's my favorite. And so I was like, how can I play that? And I was like, I bet you I could download an emulator. And so last week when I was on vacation, I was like, oh, I'm going to download an emulator. And it's super easy. I remember back in the day, you had to jailbreak this stuff to do most of the things. Nowadays, they kind of let you do it in just kind of a sort of backdoor way. It's like you go to this website, you bookmark the website, add it to home screen, and then you open it from adding it to home screen as an app, and then it utilizes it as like its own app, even though it's really just a website, but it really functions as its own app. I don't know how it works on the back end, but anyway, it's a full Game Boy Color emulator, so I've been playing Pokemon Blue. But the greatest part about the emulator, though, is I can play it at 2 times speed. So it's like, dun, 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 and I'm like walking real fast, and it's like, that makes it a lot easier because I'm a grown adult. So I don't have as much time as I had when I was a kid. You got to put in the grind. It's going to take a long. I don't got all that time. So I need it at 2 times speed. So that way I can and the laser beam, it's quicker. So I'm like, I like that. That's the only thing that's going to suck when I get a real Game Boy. I'm like, oh man, I kind of want to speed it up now. That'd be fantastic. But Pokemon Blue, that I'm playing it in 2025. That game came out in 1997, I think. It's still fire. That game is still good. It's like the perfect game. Like it doesn't handhold you too much, but it gives you a progression. You have like, I got to go this kind of route. Oh, and I know I can't go here because I don't have the ability to unlock that thing yet. So how do I get that ability? Oh, I got to go this way. It's like literally Pokemon Red and Blue. That's why they changed the game. They were good right off the bat. Right off the bat, they came out and people were like, oh, this is a great-ass game, regardless if you knew what the hell these little monsters were. You're like, this is just a good game. But then you started liking the little pocket monsters, and you're like, this is crazy. They're like, we'll do cards. And then they came out with cards. They're like, oh, the cards are great. We got to collect them. They're like, let's do another game. And then they just, and now it's literally 30 years later, and they're still doing this stuff. My kids love Pokemon. They love playing the games. They love collecting the cards. Pokemon is like generational. I guarantee by the time my kids grow up and they have kids, Pokemon's still going to be going. There's just something about it that is like, it just doesn't end. It's never ending. They have enough. They're like, we'll make new Pokemon. Even if you don't like them as much, we know you'll still play the games. You're still going to collect the cards because we'll still make the old Pokemon into new cards and stuff. Like, this is generational. So they did a fantastic job on that. So, yes, I have been grinding on that. Yes, I did spend 11 hours last week. But it doesn't count because a lot of the time I was just sitting on the couch with my kids, or they were playing VR, and they always want me to join them. But they play like Gorilla Tag in this other game called Yeeps, and you have to move like bashing your hands in. It's like a lot of work. My kids are like, they take off the headsets, and they're dripping in sweat. They're dripping in sweat. They're like sweaty everywhere. It's like, it's a lot of physical. Imagine like running in place almost for hours at a time. It's nuts. So I'm like, bro, I don't want to do all that movement. I really don't want to be doing all that. So I'll play for a couple, I'll play for until my headset dies to get like an hour and a half out of it or something. And then I go, all right, guys, that's about it for me. That's all they get out of me. But them, as soon as their headset dies, they plug it in. They'll do something else. Maybe we'll watch some Dragon Ball Z. Maybe they'll play some iPad, whatever. As soon as it's done charging, time for more VR. They just love it, bro. That's like, the VR is their Game Boy. That is the new generation's Game Boy.
Honestly, it's pretty solid. Like,
it's sick. I mean, to be honest, I would have loved the VR when I was a kid. I still love it now. It's just, now it's like, for the apps they like, it's a lot more cumbersome. I would see it, especially if I had a Quest 3 with that colored pass-through, I would see me just sitting down on the couch, doing the 100-inch screen over here, adding a couple tabs of this and that. Like, I could totally see me doing that. But on the Quest 2, it's just not as cool. It's not as cool.
basically the first thing I did was just the fact that you can throw up 3 screens at a time and just have like all of those things. They're not running simultaneously, mind you. It is very, very backgrounded, but it's like you can easily switch between those things.
Yeah.
But it's just a giant ass screen.
It's Iron Man style. That's like boop, boop, beep, 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 beep. Now we just need to get it to we don't need the big ass headset. And we just I put on my bands, and they have smart glasses. Like I seen this latest one where it's like it's a 120-inch screen, 120 refresh rate, blah blah. But it's just one screen. It's just there's a screen displayed on your thing, and it's like it's not a whole computer. Like the MetaQuest is literally a whole computer on your face. We need to get to that where it's like whole computer, multi-screens, all the augmented reality, mixed reality stuff in the size of regular sunglasses, not super sunglasses. Not I've seen them where the sunglasses are normal and they have these big ass side things. Where it's like really obvious these are not normal sunglasses. No. Can we get it down to sunglasses? I know we talked about it New Year's Eve. We're like, what about contact lens? That's almost too it's either not realistic enough or it's just so far away. We're so far away from contact lenses. It's like, I don't know about that. But I feel like, come on, we're like 5 years away. No more than 10 years away from normal sunglasses being at least Quest 3 level. By the time we get like Quest 6 or 7 or something. It'll be like, oh, yeah, well, we have like really crazy things for much bigger, but if you want something portable, oh yeah, we got portable options. Kind of like you got like the Nintendo Switch. It's portable. It's less powerful than the PS5 Pro, but you have a PS5 Pro or an Xbox Series S, and then you got the Switch. They have different functions. So there'll be some sort of super MetaQuest 10 that does all sorts of crazy stuff, and you plug it into the back of your brain just like you're entering the Matrix. But if you want to leave your house, you want to be on the go, you throw on the shades. And I got boop, 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 boop. Like, I've seen all those funny videos where it's like people using the Apple ones on the road, on the street. They're like doing their GPS, and they have another cameraman obviously showing them from the outside, and they just look stupid as hell. Like they're walking down the street like, and people are looking at them like, what the hell is this guy doing? But that's because it looks so stupid with a big old headset, and you got the big cord coming out and the battery pack in your pocket. Like that looks weird. But if you're just having sunglasses on, they're like, dude, that guy's cool. That guy, is that Tony Stark? Like, that's what they're going to be thinking. This guy's Iron Man. Future. That's what I can't wait for. Who needs flying cars? I don't give a shit about that. What do I got a flying car? I don't need to fly anywhere. I'd rather have smaller VR, AR sunglasses. That's all I'm asking for. And honestly, that's a lot more realistic than a flying car. I don't think we'll ever get flying cars, Jason. Not because it's like, oh, the technology wouldn't exist. No, the technology can easily exist. People are too stupid to regulate flying cars. It's too stupid. We got drunk drivers. We got people that just suck at it. Like, if you mess up flying a car, you do 9/11 every day. You know what I mean? Like, you're running into buildings. You're like, this is serious stuff. And we let people drive on normal roads getting into accidents every day. But you add it into the air, it makes it 10 or 100 times worse. That's why we'll never have flying cars.
There's a lot more room in the air, though.
I know, but it's just like you add gravity and inertia to things, and now cars are torpedoes. They're torpedoes. Even you got all the room in the world, and there's still somebody's grandma that's like, whoa! And now she runs into the Kmart. Kmart's gone. Grandma's like, I was trying to park at Kmart. Grandma, not cool. You know what I mean? Like, there's just, I can see it if it's all autonomous, right? You get into your car and then you say, car, take me to Las Vegas. And your car goes, yes. It takes you in the air and flies you to Las Vegas. Sure. Oh, I totally see that. But I don't see them letting humans do it. No way. They already, you know how much regulation goes up and just, you put your drone in the sky, or how far away from an airport you can shine a laser, like anything regulated in the sky right now for fully trained pilot professionals. Do you think they just go willy-nilly, let people just take their, 20, I don't even know what year it'd be, like 2,120 Lincoln Town Car, and it's like going in there, premium, ooh, this is cool. No! They don't let anybody do that, bro. There's just too much they'd have to maintain and regulate for people to not screw that up, unless it was completely autonomous. I could see that, completely autonomous. Just like cars, I think eventually humans don't allow them to drive them. It's so funny. I see people talking about like, oh, autonomous vehicles get in an accident once every, 100,000 miles or whatever. It's like, human beings get into an accident like once every 10 or something stupid. It's like, there's a lot more accidents due to human error than there is from computer fault. And I guarantee you the ones that are mostly from computer fault is because some dumbass human did something to make that computer have a fault. Like ran a red light or did something stupid. You know what I mean? It's like, if all the cars were autonomous, accidents would go down to 0.01%. Something very small where it's like, yeah, it happens. But right now there's like, I can't remember the statistic, but there's like thousands of people that die every day from accidents. There's hundreds of thousands of accidents a day, but there's thousands of people that die every day from accidents. Robots ain't doing that to us. Yeah, it's a little scary not being able to, the hands are off the wheel. Sure, a little creepy, but you'll get used to it. Especially when you can nap. Right now, you get a Tesla, it's fully autonomous. You still got to have the hands on the wheel. You just got to have the eyes on the road. But I don't want that. That's half-ass crap. I want to take my hands off, roll the seat back, nap time. Wake me when I get to work. Yes, sir. Entering sleep mode. It rolls my seat all the way back, dims the whole car, puts on the super tints. That's amazing. I know, like, a bunch of drunk people that are like, take me home, Tessie. And then I'm like, take me home. Boom. Drunk driving goes down to nothing. Bring on autonomous vehicles. People, don't be scared of them. I think we need them. They're going to save lives. Okay, every once in 100,000 cars, the robot goes, no, I got to run into a truck. Okay, once every 100,000. Is that really such a big deal? It happens. Right now it happens. Right now, normal humans go, they run into a truck, bro. And it's like, there's nothing you can do about that. And there's a real human. I'd rather just have the robots do it. So I can't wait. If the second that I can work close enough to a place that I can lease a car, because right now I'm way too far, I guarantee you I will lease a Tesla, because I can't afford one outright. Because I'm pretty sure they're like $800 a month for the cheapest option. It's like $800 a month to do the full financing for an actual, you're buying the car. But to lease it, it's only $300 a month. You know, you got to have your credit up. You got to get 700 and stuff. But that would be the point. My credit's high enough and I live close enough to not need the mileage too much. Bro, I'm leasing a car and I'm getting a Tessie, and I'm just going, take me home, Tessie. Take me to work. Let's go, old girl. And she goes, yes. And, you know, you can program them to, like, say, you know, Elon loves all those options. So they have all sorts of options on how you can program the AI voice in it and stuff. That's all I need. I've always wanted a Tesla. Ever since I saw the first one, I said, give me one of those. That's sick. And they only get sicker as time goes on. If I had the ability to get a Cybertruck, guaranteed I'd get a Cybertruck. I know so many people are like, that thing looks so stupid. I think it looks sick. It looks like a Halo 2 Warthog in Halo 2 graphics. Like, that's what it looks fantastic. And I'd get it Warthog green too. And I'd add the extra light bar on the top so it looked like a Warthog. I'd go full Halo Warthog on that boy. But those things are like $100,000. I ain't get one of those for a long time. But if you people watch this channel enough, maybe one day I'll get a Tesla. That would be fantastic. And then what I'll do, I'm trying to think of how to give back to the subscribers, because they're like, how does that affect me at all? They're like, why would I give a shit about that? I don't know. Maybe I could see me doing something where it's like, I'll put every subscriber's name on the car or something like that. That'd be really funny. Like on the paint underneath the glossy coating, there's every single subscriber's name. I'll be like, my subscribers literally bought me this Cybertruck, so I put every one of their names on it. You'll all be immortalized on my Cybertruck if we can ever get to that point. Because honestly, I think that'd be sick. I'd be rolling down people like, what are all those names on your car? I'd be like, oh, those are all my subscribers. They bought me this car. They'd be like, that's sick as hell. I wouldn't think that's stupid. That wouldn't look. I would make it look designed-wise. You know, you can do like, you know, where people do like a ton of photos and it makes it look like a photo. I would make the names in a certain way where it's like if you zoomed out far enough, it looked like a cool pattern. But then you got closer to it and you're like, oh, man, that's I think, Cheyenne Putnam's actual name here. She had another, was like China thing, or like whatever the real, because, you know, people's names are going to be like names. It's going to be like Spoonman235 or whatever. Who the hell is Spoonman235? One of my subscribers. Spoonman, thank you. Everybody chipped in. Just by subscribing, you will chip in to get me a Tesla. One subscriber at a time. And I will immortalize you by putting your name in there. And I would say no matter how ridiculous it is, but I know some of you people are just, you would be ridiculous to be ridiculous. And you'd be like, I'm going to do a penis poo-poo or whatever. I don't know what it's going to be.
Pee-pee Shire.
If it's not too egregious, I'll do it. Because honestly, like I said, when you look at it from like more than 20 feet, you'd be like, oh, okay, what is that? And then you get really close and it's like, penis poo-poo 2211. That's this one dude. I don't know. He subscribed to me, bro. I promised I'd put everybody's name on there. That for this channel, I'll just set it in stone right now. If we ever get to the point where I monetize enough to get a fancy Tesla, I guarantee that I will do a subscriber special where I just put everybody's shit on there. That'll be fantastic. For the Epic D Guy channel, I already had this idea a long time ago. I'm going to make a song called the Subscriber Song, because obviously it's a music-based channel. And I'm going to say every subscriber's name in a song, and then every month or every quarter I'll update it. I'll add another section of it, and it'll be like part 2, part 3, part 4, and it'll just be all the new subscribers for that quarter. And I already like kind of started this at first, where it's just like, it's essentially like what is that song? It's the End of the World as We Know It, where it's like this guy's just saying lyrics. It's like dripping down a paragon, and he's just saying all sorts of words. It's going to be like that, but for usernames. It's going to be like, you know, poopy, peepy, poop, doo, doo, whatever these names are. But I'm just going to do a song. I'll have a very quick chorus, like, it's the subscriber song. I already had a chorus and a melody and everything. And then I'll just say everybody's names. I'll just have I'll print out the whole list of everybody's names. I'll sit in front of a guitar, and I'll read everybody's names. So then your name will be immortalized in a song that you'll be able to watch the video for on YouTube. So that's what I'll do for my subscribers on Epic D Guy. They'll be in a song. And then it's going to be crazy because, the goal is obviously for both these channels. End goal, we talked about this. What's the end goal? I would be at the top of the mountain if we ever got to 1 million subscribers. I don't need 10 million, 100 million. I don't need to be Mr. Beast. If we can get to 1 million subscribers, I would say, Jason, we did it. Game over. I wouldn't say game over. I'd say let's keep going. But you know what I mean? I'd be like, that's it. Top of the mountain. If we never got more than 1 million, I'd be like, we've succeeded, honestly, beyond my belief. But I truly feel in my core we can succeed in this. But 1 million, I think that's the end goal. That's when we can say, nailed it. 100,000, I'm going to be like, yes, we're doing great. Keep going. 500,000, we're doing fantastic. Keep going. Once we get to 1 million, I'll be like, all right. Now we can do the wacky shit. now we can go back to just doing whatever we want because we've made it. And actually, at that point, people will probably watch the stupid stuff we want to do because they're like, oh, yeah, I like what these guys do. Now I'll watch their cooking show he wanted to do a long time ago. I wouldn't have done that 3 years ago, but now that he's at this status, I will watch Al cook. Let's see what they make. And I have a virtual iPad Jason in the kitchen. Like in real life, though, but it's just the iPad Jason in the kitchen. Jason, look at what I'm going to use this wok. And you're like, that's crazy. And you're acting like you can, well, you would be able to see it kind of like you see this, but it's virtual. Now, I will say at some point, we will get me and Jason in the same room. I'd love to do a special on that as well. There's just a logistical thing with like money involved, like getting together and a little bit of timing, but it's mostly money. So we'll get that at some point. And then the end game, because I know Jason's in Texas. You're pretty much locked in for the rest of your life. Do you think this is where the grave goes? Is Texas, Jason? Have you already decided this, or do you think like Texas isn't even the end game?
The future can do many things.
You're up to the future. Well, see, honestly, I've enjoyed my time in Texas. So I think the end game for me is like, and unless you're like, hey, bro, let's go to Tennessee. I'm like, shit, let's go to Tennessee. That's honestly pretty sick. But if I had to like go somewhere, I'd go to Texas. So once my kids are in college, give them another 10 years because they're not there. The youngest one's 9, so give them another 10 years. They'll go to college. I kind of hope they do move to a college, live on a dorm, have that whole experience. I think that'll be sick. I will then leave this place. I will leave Michigan. I love my family, and that's it. That's it. I do not like this place. It's very cold. The roads are crappy. There's not a lot of great opportunities here. This isn't like the hub of all the greatest companies. Like Kellogg's is in Battle Creek. I guess you have the motor companies, but that's kind of not my bag here. It's just, I don't know. There's nothing really for me. Now, I do like some outdoors. I like camping. I like seeing the stars. There's things like that. But with Michigan, you only get a couple months to do that anyway. So if I lived in Texas, I would just fly up. Hey, I'm going to go camping in Michigan. Now, you would camp in Texas, to be honest. I think it'd still be nice. But, obviously Michigan got its scenery. That's about all it's got going for them, and you do not need to live here 365 days in order to experience Michigan. Spend a weekend or two. Ooh, Michigan's nice. All right, back to warm place, and we just go back to warm place. So at some point, I'll just move wherever Jason is. So if Jason's in, Tennessee, we're going to Tennessee. We'll see how that goes, because I'm like you, Jay. I'm flexible. So wherever it goes, I just figured you're pretty much locked into Texas at this point, but you never know. You never know. I mean, because your girl's whole family's there. So I'm like, if anybody's moving, that's where I'm like, if anybody's staying there, it's you because of that. But once again, that could be like anybody's family. Like, hey, man, got this crazy opportunity. We got to go to North Carolina. Let's go. You never know. Because honestly, there was an opportunity that came up for Mr. Beast. And Mr. Beast hires a lot of people. But there was a serious one where I was like, man, I think I could do it. But the problem is he didn't want any remote workers. And he wanted you to live in, I think it's near Greensboro. Can't remember what city in North Carolina. And he's like, you got to live here. I wasn't literally talking to Mr. Beast, but it was just part of it. And I was like, man, that would be a sick opportunity. A sick opportunity to work for like a major YouTuber. Because everybody that kind of, even you see all those videos where they're like, yeah, I worked for Mr. Beast and blah, 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 and here's my behind the scenes or whatever. they instantly grow because everybody wants to hear about, oh, what happened at Mr. Beast. But usually they're like trying to stab Mr. Beast in the back, so it's like whatever. But I would utilize this as a springboard. Boo, let's go. But the problem is I'm not going anywhere without my kids. I've already learned that lesson the first time I went to Texas without them. The backstory for that is like, well, why did you move if you knew your kids were going to be up here? I really and seriously thought that my kids would move down here too. I thought their mom would move their kids with me down here because this place, Texas, was awesome. And there was a little bit of time. There was about a month's sake where it was like, it was kind of, we were looking at houses. There was a little bit of time where I was like, oh, here it is. This is all going to move. We're going to relocate to Texas. That didn't happen. That didn't pan out. So once I knew, oh, this is never happening, my kids are never living in Texas because their mom in, then I was like, bro, I got to go back. I got to go back, man. I felt bad because I was like, man, I felt like I came down here and I razzle a bunch of dazzle and now I got to leave again. But that's why. It was because I really did think the future was Texas. Because my idea was to work for that franchisee that won't be named and to own I was going to own my own stuff. Start with a little bit of a piece of the pie, grow the pie, get my own stores, then get my own corporate conglomerate. I wanted to build 50 stores. Like, that was my idea, was start the seed in Texas, grow, water the plant, and next thing you know, that, because I really truly saw a path forward in Texas for that whole situation. And there probably could have been if I stuck with it at the sacrifice of the time with my kids, and I couldn't bring myself to that. It killed me every time to leave. Every time I had to fly out and come back, it killed me, bro. It's like I had to wait. It's like you leave and it's really sad. They're like, no, go down. It's like, and they were younger too, so it was really, really hard. And then I'd be like, oh, guys, I got to go. And it's really sad. But you can't be like going around the airport, like crying your eyes out. You know what I mean? They're like, this guy is a terrorist. Like, why is this guy acting like that? So you got to like hold it in. So like the whole time I'm going through TSA, I'm going through the airport, I'm sitting waiting at the thing. I'm just like holding it and holding it. I'm on the plane, holding it and holding it. And I get off the plane. I finally get back to my car that's up the parking lot. And then the whole drive from the parking lot all the way back to my residence in Ennis or wherever I was going, it was like I was just crying my eyes out, bro. I was like, damn, this sucks. This sucks so bad. It was like ripping off a really, really lethal Band-Aid every single show. Nuts. Or every single time I left and then came back. So I was like, bro, I can't do it. It's not sustainable for me. And I know my dad was like, bro, you could just fly home and see him. You can see him whenever you want. Just fly home. Wouldn't it be cool? I remember this one time we got in a really big argument. He's like, why are you arguing with me? I'm like, I don't know why. Sometimes I really have a strong opinion. I feel like I have to put my foot down. He's like, wouldn't it be cool if you flew home, you went out to dinner with them, and you're like, all right, guys, got to fly back. And you just flew out for a dinner. And they'd be like, oh, that was cool. My dad flew out for dinner. I'd be like, no, it's not cool, bro. I'm like, no, that's heartbreaking. I'm like, man, my dad only flew out. He could only have dinner with me, and then he's already flying back. Like, all the emotions of, like, having to leave again and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just, it's torture. It's torture. I was like, that's not cool. And he's thinking from his mindset. He's thinking, like, yeah, like, if you just came up and visited me all 30 minutes, oh, that was cool. Oh, that was crazy. He did a flight just for that. And like, so he could appreciate that. I'm like, but it's not my kids specifically. Kids in general, like that, especially ones that like miss their dad because they don't get to see him that often. Like, that would just kill them. They'd be like, they would think the opposite. They're like, my dad doesn't make enough time for me. He only makes enough time to fly up for a dinner, or he took me to Chuck E. Cheese, and then he had to go back home. Like, bro, that's not enough. That's why I told the franchisee in the beginning, I'm like, I got to go home every other weekend. Every other weekend. And he's like, I think we can make that happen. It was happening for a good chunk of time until COVID happened. And then he's like, oh, bro, when I started going back, he's like, go for a whole week. He's like, a weekend? What is that? Why don't you go for a whole week and then don't go for like 2 whole weeks? And I was like, oh, I just don't like it. I don't like it. So, but then there was kind of that benefit of being able to go for a 7-8 day stretch. I did like that, but then it was like the 3 weeks in between. I'm like, oh, this sucks, bro. I don't like that. I like the consistency of it. If I got to fly home every Wednesday and have dinner with them and then fly home every other weekend and have the weekend with them, it'd be a little different, I guess, if I got to do that a lot. But that was not the case. So I was like, bro, I can't sustain this. So that's why I moved back to Michigan. Michigan, I'm here for, my dad, even though my dad's like, you barely come to see me. I'm here for you. I can. I've seen you more in the last, tell me I have not seen you more in the last, let's say since I moved back, the last 4 years than the previous 10. I'd say that's fair. The previous 10 before 2020, so from 2011 to 2021, think of all the times I probably got to spend time with my dad, and then think of 2021 to 2024. You'd be like, oh, I've actually seen him at least a couple times a year. Before, there would be giant stretches where I'd never see my dad, and he was just a couple hours away. Then I moved to Texas, and it was like, I definitely didn't get to see my dad then. And then now I'm back. And now there's like family functions, or there's a hilarious story. I won't go on it right now because I'm really trying to wrap it up. But when I went to go visit him for Christmas and he's like, he was like, nobody come visit me. I said, I'm going to surprise my father. That didn't go well. That's funny. I'll bring that up on another day. But it's now to me driving an hour. He lives about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from me because I live so far south. That's not really a big deal. Like Christina, she lives in Davison. It's like an hour and a half. Hour 45 for me. It's not crazy. Like when she asked me to come over, I go, all right. Before living in Michigan the whole time, I'd be like, oh, an hour and a half, bro, that's too long. Oh no. Like I would never do it. Now in Texas, everything's an hour and a half away. Everything's 2 hours away. I gotten so used to driving long distances with nothing in between that I'm like, oh, that ain't nothing, bro. So when Christina's like, are you coming up for Christmas? Are you coming up for Kaylee's birthday? Are you coming up for this or that? I go, yeah, I'll be there. That's fine. That's no big deal. I'm not trying to go there every week. I'm not trying to go all the time for gas restraints. But as far as like actually making family functions now, yes, I've actually tried much harder in the last 4 years to do as many family functions as I can because I'm like, I'm home now. I might as well take advantage of it. Versus before, it'd be like, oh, I don't think I'm going to make the Logan's birthday. Oh, I don't think I'm going to make that. It's not because I probably had something really important to do. It's just I really didn't put in the effort. I'll just be honest. I really didn't put in the effort to do that. Versus now I go, oh, I could rather use the rest or do something, but you know what? I'm going to be there for my family. I'm going to do that. Oh, and my dad said he finally has a car so he can come see me. I know he always talks about coming down to spend the weekend or whatever with me, and then I'm always going up there with him. Yeah, you can come down any weekend you want because it really doesn't matter if you come down on a weekend where there's no kids. The only extra thing I add is I go to band practice on Saturday, but obviously you're free to come to band practice on Saturday. And then if I have the kids, it's really nothing extra anyway because we just either hang out or they like to go to the mall because it's free. I love that. So I'm like, shoot, let's go to the mall. So any weekend's cool with me. So we'll make that happen. The only extra thing is I got to get, an extra sleeping bed or something because right now I have a bed and I have an air mattress. So when I'm here all by myself, I sleep on the bed. When the kids are over, I sleep on the air mattress. But that's it. So I need to have one more sleep. I just get another. Honestly, I love the air mattress so much. I might just get a second one just so I always have one to go and one that's out or something like that. Because there was many months where I had a perfectly good bed. I just liked how comfortable the air mattress was here. I was like, this air, when I got it, I unfolded it, and it's only a twin-size air mattress. Nothing crazy, but it's like so comfy. It's so uniformly comfy. I was like, oh, this is good. Versus the mattress I have is an IKEA spring thing. It was literally the cheapest mattress I could get because of cost constraints. So it's honestly really not that good. But what's funny is Emmett really enjoys it. And Emmett has a very expensive bed at his house. He says he does not sleep as good. He's like, I love sleeping at your house, Dad. There's something about this bed that's so good. I was like, Emmett, that's the cheapest, shittiest bed that I could get. It's literally just a regular old spring bed. There's no memory foam. There's nothing. He's like, I think there's something about the springs. It just makes me sleep better. I'm like, I'm glad you do. Because he has like a really fancy, like, it's like a dual, it's like Tempur-Pedic with spring, all this stuff. I remember she spent like $2,000 or what. It was a really expensive bed for each one of the boys. And for the longest time, they didn't even like sleeping on their beds. I was like, man, that's terrible. That's terrible. But now they actually got more used to sleeping on their bed. So it's good. Because for the longest time, they were sleeping, because obviously if I was visiting them, we were in a hotel, we would just sleep in the same bed. And then they like to sleep in their mom's bed because she got like a king size bed. So it's like there's always plenty of room. Plus it's like, oh, I get to hug my kids. Oh, I love my kids so much. But then when they got to like 7 or 8, and we were like, oh, they probably shouldn't sleep in the same bed as us. It's going to be leading to like, issues later when they're like, they have abandonment issues because they always got to sleep in the bed. So we had to kind of like wean them off of that. Like, guys, you got to sleep in their own room. But then they really just disliked not having anybody. So then I was like, well, at least at my place, they have the same room. So I got them bunk beds, but then one of them didn't like being higher than the other, so I just put them like on the same floor. Then they're all right with that. They just don't like being completely alone. But nowadays, they have their own rooms, and their mom did a lot of work to like put in LED lights, and like for Elliot, he has like Spider-Man and U of M theme, and then Emmett has like gamer stuff and memes and stuff like that. So she really made it like, oh, you like everything in here, you want to spend time in there. They have their Xboxes in there, so now they're a lot more comfortable and they could do it. But when they come here, I took their room apart, bro. They never wanted to sleep in that room anyway because they wanted to play VR, and they need so much space for VR. They're always hitting something. So I said, man, what happens if I just took out their bunk bed, put it in my room? So then, obviously, when they're here, we got the bunk bed, my bed, and an air mattress. When they're not here, it's almost like I just have a bunk bed. So I just put the teddy bears and the blankets or whatever. I'll put it up top. I'll sleep on the bottom, easy peasy. And then I removed everything from that other room. We call it the VR room now because there's nothing in there. So that way they could just play VR in the whole room. It's perfect. It's fantastic, and they love it. They're like, oh, this is crazy. I left all the decorations, the Pokemon and the Sonic posters, all that stuff, so it looks cool, but there's nothing in there. That way they have maximum amounts of room for VR, which is fantastic. I told them, I said, if I get a house, which I plan to, I'm going to dedicate like either a large section of the basement or at least a whole room to be a VR room where there's nothing in it. But I think I'll dual purpose it if I make the entire room green, floor, ceiling, all the walls green. I can use it as a green room to record content where I'm like, look at me in space or something crazy. But then when they're there, they can use it for VR since there will be nothing in there. So I think that's how I can dual purpose that. Because I've always talked about this before where it's like I have this fantasy of having kind of a Matrix room where it would be like all white and you cannot see the walls. You cannot see it sounds kind of freaky where you can see the door, nothing. And it just looked like it went to infinity. Ever since I saw The Matrix, I was like, bro, I would love to have a room like that where it seemed like it would go forever. I would love that. Now, there's some logistics on like how do you light a room like that? Because obviously if you have lights around the edge of the room, well, you know the edge of the room. So you got to have like lights that aren't visible, that don't have shadows because shadows will cast off. There's all sorts of logistics you got to figure out to make that work. But I really want to do that. So when the lights are on, it's Matrix room. And then when the lights are off, it would be so dark. I would have it like be my meditation room. And I would just go in there and just have like, I want it to be like almost soundproof too. This sounds really creepy. All dark, no sound at all. So that way it's like a perfect meditation space. So even if my eyes are completely open, I cannot see anything. I can't hear. I don't need headphones to not hear anything. It's completely blank. So I really want a room like that. And honestly, I don't need a room to be gigantic to achieve that. You just need to do like the effects of how to make a small room seem much bigger to make that. Obviously, if all the lights are off, it really doesn't matter how big the room is. It's when all the lights are on to make it look like a Matrix room. That'll be tricky to pull off. But I want that. I think that would be fantastic for my own. I mean, there's almost no benefit for it, but I think that'd be really cool, especially the meditation thing, just to go in a room where my eyes are completely open. I hear nothing. I see nothing. Just blank it out. Do you ever sit there? I usually do this every night where it's like I'm laying there and I don't like the TV being on. I don't like having anything playing. The kids they force me to put something on in the background, but when I'm all by myself, I don't want no lights on. I don't want no sound on, nothing. And then I lay there and I go, this is what silence sounds like. Because it feels like all throughout the day, there's always something. There's always something. Either my phone's playing something or somebody's talking in the office or the radio's on in the car or whatever it is. There's always something. How often do you just have complete, utter silence? For me, it's when I go to bed. But some people, they don't like that. They're like, oh, silence is weird. It's creepy. Like, to me, that's like, I don't know what they like getting to base. I need silence, bro. I didn't realize how much I needed silence until I experienced like complete utter silence. When I got these earmuffs, and then I would put the earmuffs on, I'd go, "Oh, it's really quiet. I like that." And I think that's part of like my ADHD brain, where it's like throughout the day my brain needs all sorts of crazy stuff. Oh, it's crazy. And then at some point my brain's like, "Can I reset?" Yes. Oh, that's nice. Cheyenne says, is a sensory deprivation room. Yes. Sensory deprivation. That's what it's called. They have chambers. They mostly do it underwater because of the, the way that water disperses sound and stuff like that. Plus, you can float in the water if it has a high salt content. So therefore, you can have like no sensation of even your muscles holding yourself up. I don't need all of that. I just want to be able to sit in a completely silent room with no lights and just communicate. Like, that would be the greatest prayer room in the world, because to me it's like when I'm trying to pray, it's kind of difficult to block out everything because there's always something. You hear construction in the background, you hear something, and it's almost slightly distracting. But to me, like, that's where, like, in the Bible, he's like, one of his disciples asks, "How should I pray?" And he answers him, he's like, "Go to your room, close your door, and talk to your Father who sees what is unseen." Like, that's God's like, "Bro, I'm all around you 24 hours a day. I'm in every living source. But, like, if you really want to talk to me, have nothing around you. Have complete silence. Because, like, I'm already there. It's more for you. It's more for you to, like, concentrate on me." And I'm like, "Bro, I get that. I totally get that. But there's just always something going on." So that's why I started sleeping. I didn't notice that. This was only been the last couple years I started sleeping in complete black silence. I was like, "Bro, why haven't I done this my whole life? My whole life I've always had a night." I remember being a kid. I was like, "Oh, I like a nightlight. I like something." I was a little scared of the dark. I remember there would be times where it'd be completely dark and I had to go to the bathroom, and I'd be like, "Oh no, I don't know what's out there. Oh, the scary stuff." Like, now I'm like, "Get it dark." Like, I don't want to see in front of my face. I don't want to see nothing. I think that's really cool. I have no sense of that anymore. The fear is gone from me. Bring me the darkness, and not like the evil darkness, just literally not seeing things, so that way I can be. It's almost a freedom. It could be anything, or there could be nothing. What complete freedom from that, which is fantastic. Get a water bed for that room. No, I don't want the water. I don't want none of that. I just want to be able to sit. I just want to sit. I'll get a really comfortable chair. That's what I want. And I would need it like a... If you ever seen me in real life, at some point she's going to see me in real life this year. Like, if I'm in my car, my seat is like a 45-degree angle. I like to have my couch, luckily, like most normal people's couches, it's like maybe here, and this is the L. This couch has an extra click back, so it's like really far back. It's like this. I love it, bro. I'm like, this couch is meant for me. So I need like a certain angle where it's like I'm almost in a recliner position. That's the zero gravity position. That's what I like. Almost recliner style. I usually keep my feet up on the drum stool or something like that. If I had a recliner, 90% of the time I'd be in recliner mode. I barely ever. Sitting like this for the show, it's hurting my ass, bro. I'm always trying to adjust and do something. I don't enjoy sitting straight up, but I know if I sit the angle I want to sit at, I'd look like so stupid. I'd look like a cholo. "Oh, what's this boy leaning back for? He's thinking he's gangster?" No, bro. My back hurts all the time. That's the way to get it comfy. It's that super angle. People will get in my car, they're like, "Who the hell was sitting there?" If I was like sitting in a passenger seat, I'm like, "Oh, that was me, bro." Like, I can sit way back, almost laying. I would prefer laying. That'd be sick. That'd be crazy. You watch me drive, I'm like leg all the way back. But that's kind of comfy for me. That's just how it is. All right. I finally reached it where I can't go anymore. And this is the reason why we got away with such a long stream, is because my watch died a long time ago. And that's how I would be like, "Oh, what time is it? What time is it?" And I keep going to check my watch, and it's dead. It's dead. And that's why I keep losing track of time. It's freaking 1:50 in the morning. He can't keep getting away with this. He can't get away with this. Me, I can't keep getting away with this. I can't. Damn it. I'm going to get 4 hours of sleep tomorrow. I'm going to be so tired. You people are lucky. I only have one objective at work tomorrow, and that's to create the goals for this year for my department. I got to create goals. That's my one objective. Luckily, I don't have to teach that new hire. He doesn't come back till Thursday, so that's the only reason why you people are getting away with this. Damn it. We'll get them next week. Next week, hour and a half, and I'm. You know what? That'd be funny if I set an auto shut off to the stream. It's like after an auto, and I'm just talking blah blah blah, and it's like stream has ended. Oops, oopsie. Hour and a half, stream's ended, bro. Sorry. That's how it is. I think that's the only way I can get away with actually locking in. I gotta log in. Jason, thank you for joining me on this week's first episode of the year. It's fantastic to kick this off. Let's get this ball rolling. Tell Walmart, do not stop. Do not stop. Every Tuesday, need it off. And tell me, like, as far in advance as you know, like, oh, bro, I just found out I'm not going to have Tuesday off. And then that way I could try to do something in advance because I don't want to kill the momentum. I don't want to kill the momentum. Even just having, Jason, I told you, I will have you on remotely from Walmart. You know what I mean? Because we don't even see your face anyway. You can have your earbud in. People think you're crazy talking to yourself, but you're talking to me. We could do this. We could do this. So just let me know. Thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you, Alyssa. I think it's so funny. Every now and then I look over Alyssa. Oh, it's Grandpa. It's my dad over here. Thank you for joining. We had Carolina. Thank you for talking. We also had Skip Action. Thanks for joining us earlier. And all you lurkers, the lurkers out there, thank you for lurking. We appreciate you guys and your time. But we are getting out of here. Thank you and good day. I'm sorry, everyone. The show's over, but we thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time. We're out of here.
You what?
Good day.
Are you